Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Marvel. Starting with Spider-Man No Return. Chapter 1. Hudson Estuary on Liberty Island in New York Harbor. At dawn, the Statue of Liberty, which represents freedom and democracy, held its torch high, and a figure in a red cloak could be seen standing on it. Exaggerated dimensional cracks continued to spread wantonly in the sky, and the figure above the torch tried its best to cast magic, barely filling the ever-spreading dimensional cracks. But when manpower is exhausted, even the power of the Supreme Mage cannot heal this terrifying dimensional crack. Once the dimensional crack spreads, the consequences are unpredictable. This world is at stake. At the foot of the Statue of Liberty is the shield of the American team that was about to replace the torch. Because of the spread of the war, a huge shield fell to the shore. On the shield, three figures embraced each other, as if they were saying their final farewell. Meanwhile, off the coast opposite Liberty Island, on the roof of the building, Yang Ming slowly put down the telescope in his hand, and looked up at the unstoppable dimensional crack in the sky. Facing the coming world disaster, his young and handsome face remained calm, and the corners of his mouth even curled up with a hint of interest. Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Electro, Lizardman, Sandman, Dr. Strange, and the three Peter Parkers. It was a worthwhile trip to witness 3 generations of Spider-Man in the same frame. Quote. Yang Ming smiled slightly, threw the binoculars at his feet, and then raised the camera hanging on his chest to record the precious picture of 3 generations of Spider-Man embracing in the distance. Crack. The moment the photo was taken, an emotionless system notification sounded in Yang Ming's ear. Ding. I witnessed the 3 generations of Spider-Man fighting the Green Goblin, Electro, Lizard, Sandman. The novice task is completed, and the first-generation Spider-Man suit X1 will be rewarded. The novice task is completed, and the second-generation Spider-Man suit X1 will be rewarded. The novice task is completed, and the 3-generation Spider-Man suit will be rewarded X1. Hearing this, Yang Ming looked as usual, but his hands holding the camera couldn't stop shaking slightly. Obviously his heart was not as calm as it appeared on the surface. With less than a week to travel through the Marvel Universe, Yang Ming has quickly adapted to this world of superheroes. For Yang Ming, who has watched Spider-Man No Return for Heroes, this so-called novice task is not difficult, but the rewards make him a little confused. Spider-Man's power comes from himself, and the suit only plays an auxiliary role for Spider-Man. Ordinary people will not become superheroes with Spider-Man's suit. Thinking about it, Yang Ming subconsciously called out the system panel, and the virtual interface appeared in front of him without warning. Spider-Man suit, first generation. Wearing the battle suit, you can temporarily gain all the power of a generation of Spider-Man. Spider-Man suit, second generation. Wearing the battle suit, you can temporarily gain all the powers of the second generation Spider-Man. Spider-Man Nano Iron suit, 3 generations. Looking at the introduction of Spider-Man's suit, Yang Ming's eyes gradually became hot. For the restless Yang Ming, with the power of Spider-Man, he doesn't have to continue to be an insignificant spectator in the next trip. Before Yang Ming could test the power brought by the Spider-Man suit, the system notification sounded again. Ding. The official mission has started. Multiple Marvel Universe opens, and is about to enter Spider-Man's 4th universe. Task. Find Spider-Man. Okay. Seeing this, Yang Ming couldn't help but frown. Is the next trip going so soon? Well, he also wants to see what happens to the other Spider-Man in the multiverse. But still need to wait. Yang Ming looked in the direction of the Statue of Liberty, and saw that the golden light suddenly rose above the torch, and quickly spread to the entire city, and even covered the entire Earth. Wherever the golden light passed, villains such as Dr. Octopus, Electro, and the Green Goblin disappeared in the light, and the 2 Peter Parkers also disappeared with a smile. The dimensional rift finally healed, and the superhero managed to save the world. Yang Ming narrowed his eyes slightly, and his tone revealed a trace of yearning. This is the power of the Supreme Mage. Call out. At this time, white spider webs shot at the edge of the roof, and a familiar figure leapt to the roof. Looking back, Yang Ming saw the person wearing a red and blue metal battle suit, embellished with golden metal patterns, full of sense of technology. Peter Parker, 3 generations of Spider-Man. Hi, Mr. Spider-Man, hello. Yang Ming waved his hand and greeted with a smile. His English is not good, but with the system in hand, simultaneous translation is not difficult. For travelers, the language barrier never existed. The little spider who was falling into melancholy couldn't believe it when he heard someone greet him. Do you remember me? The mask of the battle suit disappeared, and the little spider looked at the young Asian in front of him in disbelief, his eyes widened. The price of repairing the dimensional rift is that everyone will forget Spider-Man, including Doctor Strange himself. The little spider looked nervously at the calm sky, fearing that Doctor Strange's magic would fail and the dimensional rift would appear again. After a while, seeing that there was nothing abnormal in the sky, the little spider finally breathed a sigh of relief, and hope surged in his heart. There is a bug in Mr. Stevens' magic. Is it possible for them to remember me? Thinking of this possibility, the little spider yelled excitedly, and was about to give Yang Ming a hug when he came to Yang Ming. Well, it's a fan benefit. Thanks. Wait, Mr. Spider-Man, you should take a shower before hugging. Unexpectedly, Yang Ming took a step back, obviously disgusted by the smell of sweat on the opponent's body. Little spider, this guy is not my fan. Well, definitely not. They probably scolded me online. Because of the revelation made by the mysterious guest before his death, everyone knew the true identity of the little spider. There were countless black fans, and Peter Parker's life was also greatly affected. If it wasn't for this, he wouldn't ask Doctor Strange to cast a spell to make the citizens forget his identity, let alone cause trouble later on. The little spider took back the hugging posture with a face of embarrassment, rubbing his hands and looking around, while maintaining a stiff smile. Good morning, sir, I'll go wash first. No, I have something else to do, so I'll go first, bye. As soon as the words fell, the spider mask covered the face, and the little spider jumped from the roof, and the spider's silk was ejected from the wrist to shuttle between the tall buildings. MJ, will you remember me? While traveling through tall buildings, the little spider's heart became complicated. Maybe not remembering me is also a kind of luck. He thought of Aunt May's death. With great power comes great responsibility, I remember. Hey Mr. Spider-Man, are you going home? Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded beside him, and the little spider looked aside subconsciously. What? The eyes on the little spider's mask shrank suddenly, feeling incredible. What did he see? Spider-Man nano metal suit. Call out. At this moment, Yang Ming had already changed into the exact same nano suit, imitating the movements and gestures of the little spider, and walked awkwardly between the tall buildings, saying hello to the other party by the way. Mr. Spider-Man, be careful ahead. Seeing that the little spider was in a daze in midair, Yang Ming kindly reminded him, and once again launched a spider web from his wrist, swinging high, and the little spider's eyes flashed past. Careful ahead. The little spider turned around, and the blindfold enlarged dramatically. Oops, boom. With a muffled sound, a hole in the shape of a human appeared on the roadside billboard, and sparks flew everywhere. Yang Ming, who leapt into the sky, lowered his head and shook his head slightly. Sure enough, this guy's spider sense is an active skill. After getting acquainted with the Spider-Man suit, Yang Ming came to the basement where he lived temporarily, packed up and started the second journey. Ding! Go to the fourth universe of Spider-Man, the countdown. The golden space door slowly opened. Yang Ming picked up his backpack, took a last look at the dark and small basement, and vowed in his heart that he must make money first after this time travel. This place is too expensive to rent. The moon is dark and the wind is high, a dark alley full of sundries. The golden space door appeared out of nowhere. Yang Ming stepped out of the space door, and only after the space door disappeared behind him did he scan the dark alley. Is this the fourth universe of Spider-Man? Yang Ming murmured softly, and the next moment he heard the police siren at the entrance of the alley ahead, followed by intensive gunshots. Free America, shooting every day. The corner of Yang Ming's mouth twitched into a sneer, and he was about to turn around and walk to the opposite place. Although he won the Spider-Man suit, he has no idea of punishing evil and promoting good in this city. At the beginning of time travel, when the system bound him, he was only allowed to travel, not to be a superhero. What's the point of being a superhero of the city? Call out. Suddenly, a strange noise sounded in the air above his head, and Yang Ming raised his head subconsciously, only to see a flash of white in the dark night that was fleeting. That is, Yang Ming stared at the white spider silk hanging from the wall, his heart skipped a beat. It's the Spider-Man of this world. Yang Ming grinned. The difficulty of this task is getting smaller and smaller. But, why do I see white? With this question in mind, Yang Ming ran towards the place where the gunfire was dense with his backpack in hand. In a jewelry store on the street, 5 arrogant gangsters armed with machine guns wantonly fired at more than a dozen police cars parked outside. While the flames were blazing, the police officers who suppressed the police cars did not dare to show their heads at all. In a world with superheroes, official firepower is always surprisingly weak. Ha ha ha, you stupid pigs who don't breed, go to hell. Look at these cunts, I want to punch their shit out and stuff it in their mouths so they can taste shit. Great idea, but I'd rather have them call us daddy. No, I don't want these fools to be my sons. The 5 gangsters laughed wildly, with exaggerated muscles and dark skin, full of violence and filth, and their usual swearing, which perfectly explained why the police officers in this city would nervously draw their guns when they encountered dark skin. The relationship between rat droppings and a pot of soup. On the other side, George Stancy hid behind the police car, his face showing no panic. Director Stancy, what should we do? Their firepower is too strong, why don't we withdraw first? The old police officer next to him kept wiping the sweat from his forehead and asked nervously. Although he has been in this industry for decades and has a lot of experience in the face of gun battles with gangsters, he is about to retire and really doesn't want to stay here to take risks. George glanced at the other party, ignored the suggestion that didn't look very good, just stared at his watch and said softly. Wait a minute, she should be here soon. Is she coming soon? The old police officer was taken aback, as the chief waiting for the spider. Before the words fell, the surrounding police officers suddenly screamed loudly. Look, Spider-Woman! It's Spider-Woman! Oh God, thank you for sending Spider-Woman to us. In the midst of everyone's attention, the white figure flew through the air with the help of spider silk, and landed lightly on the roadside billboard. I saw this person wearing a white hooded spider suit. Under the white hood, a circle of red shimmer appeared on the outer circle of the white eye mask on his face. Red spider webs adorned the whole suit, vividly embodying his bumpy body. Spider-Woman. At the entrance of the alley, Yang Ming looked at the graceful figure on the billboard with a dazed look on his face. The Spider-Man of this world, a woman. Ding. Once the mission is completed, the initial connection to the Spider-Man multiverse. Task. Discover the true identity of Spider-Man. The system prompt sounded, and Yang Ming fell into deep thought. Preliminary connection to the Spider-Man multiverse. Could it be that? Yang Ming narrowed his eyes, raised his camera and took a picture of Spider-Woman. At the same time, the Spider-Woman on the billboard has jumped high, and then flew towards the jewelry store with the help of spider silk. Seeing this, the 5 gangsters all had panicked expressions on their faces. It's Spider-Woman, here she comes. Focus on her. How did she arrive so soon? Do not talk nonsense. The flames are endless, and dense bullets cover this area. In the hail of bullets, Spider-Woman can be seen firing spider webs towards tall buildings, using her strength to fly high into the air, easily dodging the rain of bullets, and disappearing from the sight of the gangsters in an instant. Where did she go? Cunning Spider-Woman, I must. Just as a gangster was about to curse, white spider threads suddenly fell from the sky and sealed his mouth. Woo! On top. The other 4 people screamed and turned their guns to the top of their heads, but they were greeted by 4 sticky spider threads. Whoa! The spider silk locked the machine guns of several people, and then the muzzle lost its aim when pulled by a huge force, and finally got out. Oops! It's over. The faces of the 5 became dull. Call. A gust of fragrant wind hit, Spider-Woman squatted on the ground, and waved a playful greeting. Hey, gentlemen gangsters, I will confiscate your weapons. As she said that, she threw the machine gun in the direction of the police car, and then flew towards the 5 people, walking around the jewelry store with her flexible body, shooting spider silk to restrain them easily. Mr. Gangsters, I'm leaving, don't miss me too much. Before leaving, Spider-Woman twisted her exquisite body, turned her head and blew a kiss to several people, and under the spotlight of the police, she shot her spider silk and jumped up the tall building. The citizens who witnessed this scene cheered loudly, and many men showed morbid admiration and shouted frantically. My God, my Spider-Woman, I love you. No, That's my Spider-Woman. Hun Dan, you are not allowed to rob me, she is mine. The scene gradually became chaotic. In midair, Spider-Woman just shook her head helplessly when she saw the commotion below. Boom! Without warning, just as she was about to jump to the top of the building, the windows around her were shattered, a huge black shadow shattered the glass, and terrifying monsters attacked. Scare! The ferocious mouthparts were full of mucus, and the 8 black-haired spider legs were about to tear apart the seemingly weak body in front of them. It's a disgusting spider monster. Suddenly, the citizens exclaimed. Under the crisis, Spider-Woman seemed to have expected it, and easily avoided the monster's attack by launching spider silk from her wrist. After the spider monster lost its target, it fell straight down the street, smashing a car worth not cheap car. Little cutie, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Spider-Woman clings to the high wall, and with a chuckle, she is about to jump down to fight the spider monster. Wait, what is that? She paused and looked down at the alley below. I saw a man wearing a peaked cap with the brim of the hat lowered, and wearing a mask whose face could not be seen clearly, facing the fleeing crowd, and quickly ran towards the angry spider monster. Hey, it's dangerous there. She couldn't help shouting. But the man didn't seem to hear it, he just ran towards the spider monster with his head covered. Madman! Spider-Woman patted her head. Oh, what a trouble, who made me Spider-Woman? Just when she was about to rush down to save others, the scene before her shocked everyone. Ding! The temporary task system is activated. Destroy the spider monster. Reward, 1% of the power of a generation of Spider-Man. The moment the spider monster appeared, Yang Ming, who was hiding at the entrance of the alley, immediately received a system prompt. Although it is only 1% of the power, the mosquito's legs are also meat, and if he accumulates more, one day he will have all the power of Spider-Man. What are you waiting for? Do it! Yang Ming threw down his backpack, put on his peaked cap and mask, and ran towards the spider monster against the flow of people without hesitation. If you really want to hide your identity, the most correct way is to hide in the alley and change into the battle uniform secretly. But, wouldn't that be boring? To travel is to have some excitement. Under the cover of the mask, Yang Ming unscrupulously showed a wicked and charming smile. Anyway, no one saw it, and it wouldn't be embarrassing if no one saw it. And here, the citizens fled, and the police officers pointed their guns at the spider monster, but under George's command, they didn't immediately shoot to anger the spider monster, but they all looked at Spider-Woman in unison. It's obviously not the first time the spider monster has appeared. Ordinary bullets are not effective against this kind of monster. Director, look there. The old policeman pointed to Yang Ming, who was quickly approaching the spider monster. George cursed badly. Let the policeman be alert, and Spider-Woman will take care of the rest. Yes, a group of police officers stood guard with guns and stood by. Scare. Finally, sensing that someone was approaching, the spider monster pointed at Yang Ming without hesitation. Snacks delivered to your door. Kakaka. The slender and ferocious spider legs rubbed sparks against the ground, and the spider monster flew towards Yang Ming after a run-up. Its disgusting mouthparts were intertwined with fangs, and it couldn't wait to taste the snacks. It's just right, I will use this to deal with you. While running, Yang Ming had a thought, and a red and blue card engraved with a 3D drawing of Spider-Man appeared between his fingers immediately. Spider-Man suit, first generation. With a flick of the hand, the card turned into a human-tall space gate and fell from the sky. In the gate of space, a set of classic red and blue Spider-Man suits shimmered. Scare. The huge spider monster flew, just hitting the door of the inexplicable space, and was instantly flying by a huge force. Immediately afterwards, Yang Ming, who was running, jumped into the gate of space, overlapping with the Spider-Man suit inside. Ding! The suit is in use. Crack! Like the sound of shattering glass, the door of space exploded, and the red and blue figure shot out spider webs, and flew into the air with the help of force, shooting several webs in a row to stick to the spider monster that was blown away by the door of space but hadn't landed yet. Pulling the spider thread, the red and blue figure approached the spider monster at an extremely fast speed, and in the blink of an eye, he was within easy reach of the spider monster. At this moment, Yang Ming's legs were slightly bent, and he pressed hard against the spider monster's jaw. Boom! Under the action of double force, the spider monster smashed down the roadside buildings heavily, blasting a huge hole in the wall. Crash! Splashing bricks and dust submerged the spider monster, and the red and blue figure flew out with the help of spider silk and landed gracefully. In just 2 seconds, the situation was reversed, and the onlookers froze for a few seconds before reacting. What? Oh God, what did I see? It's Spider-Man. Red Spider-Man. People who witnessed this scene exclaimed, including the police officers who had previously ignored Yang Ming. At this moment, George could no longer maintain the calmness on his face, and was more shocked than everyone else. How is this possible? The gene of the mutated spider. When the words came to his lips, George was vigilant about his surroundings and swallowed the words. On the other hand, Spider-Woman stuck to the high wall, tilted her head and looked curiously at the figure below. Hi, Mr. Spider-Man, hello. She couldn't help waving hello. Yang Ming looked up at the other party, nodded slightly, and did not speak. Scare. The next second, the angry scream of the spider monster came from the hole, and the spider monster rushed out of the dust, and saw its kicked mandible dripping with black blood, looking miserable. Faced with the monster's impact, Yang Ming locked onto the approaching spider monster, and continuously fired spider silk from his wrist to stick the spider monster's swinging spider legs to the ground. Boom! The legs were bound by the spider silk, and the fast-moving spider monster immediately lost its balance and fell to the ground, smashing its head into the ground. It's now. Yang Ming seized the opportunity, launched the spider silk to approach the spider monster with force, and grabbed a sharp spider leg. Crack! Breaking off the spider's leg forcefully, Yang Ming inserted it into the spider monster's head with his backhand. Puff! Scare! Black blood splashed, and the spider monster lost its life in the struggle. Ding! Temporary mission completed, rewards issued. Yang Ming clapped his hands, and the first time to fight monsters ended perfectly. The 3 generations of Spider-Man have their own strengths. The first generation has strength and physique, the second generation has agility and spider sense, and the 3 generations have average attributes, but Iron Man's father has designed an exclusive battle suit for him, which is far more lethal than the previous 2 generations of Spider-Man. The superpower of a generation of Spider-Man to stop the subway is enough to make Yang Ming face the spider monster head-on. The onlookers were completely stunned when they saw such a brutal and bloody scene. My God, I'm not mistaken, this Mr. Spider-Man seems a little different. I hope my spider goddess doesn't imitate her, she just needs to be graceful. Yes, this kind of roughness can be left to this Mr. Spider-Man. The male citizens prayed one after another, but the female citizens couldn't resist this hormonal way of fighting monsters. Oh my God, this Mr. Spider-Man is so charming. The Spider-Woman watching the battle was very surprised. She didn't expect that Mr. Spider-Man's strength was so exaggerated that he ended the battle in such a rough way. Driven by curiosity, Spider-Woman jumped down from the high wall and landed lightly beside Yang Ming. Mr. Spider-Man, shouldn't we have a good chat? Yang Ming nodded, of course. Boom! A gunshot echoed in the sky, interrupting the conversation between the two, and George led the police to surround the two. Spider-Man of unknown origin, please don't try to resist, put your head in your hands, and follow us back to the police station. George pointed his gun at Yang Ming, but turned a blind eye to Spider-Woman, which was very strange. Under the mask, Yang Ming didn't look surprised at all, let alone nervous. Officer, save face, at least. Hold your head in your hands. George snapped and interrupted. Yang Ming, well, I've seen you guys with guns in movies, and I wish I could talk about life with you. Reluctantly spreading his hands, Yang Ming took a step forward, startling the surrounding police officers into a cold sweat, and almost couldn't help but fire. Wait, I don't think you should do this. Spider-Woman stopped in front of Yang Ming, trying to persuade both parties not to be too nervous. Spider-Woman, please help us capture this Spider-Man. Facing the superhero admired by countless citizens, George spoke sternly, as if he was not a superhero in front of him, but his own junior, and he was not at all worried that the other party would turn his back on him. No, I don't agree. Spider-Woman shook her head and refused. Spider-Woman, please help us capture this Spider-Man. George asked again, with a hint of order in his tone, and no rejection was allowed. Spider-Woman lowered her head, clenched her fists, struggling constantly in her heart. Behind him, Yang Ming looked thoughtfully at the unusual state of the two of them. Hey, I seem to understand something, Jay. Ms. Spider, I hope you will still be so firm next time we meet. Yang Ming chuckled, and shot spider threads towards the surrounding tall buildings, using his strength to jump up the tall buildings. Don't go, shoot, George yelled. Bang bang bang. Intensive gunshots sounded again in the night sky, but there was no sign of Red Spider-Man. Bruce, issue a wanted warrant, we must find this Spider-Man. Failed to catch the mysterious Spider-Man who suddenly appeared, George watched Spider-Woman disappear into the night sky, and could only lead the police to clean up the scene. At the alley not far away, Yang Ming changed into another set of clothes, walked out of the alley with his bag on his back, and started his renting career. At the same time, on the wall at the entrance of the alley, a small mechanical spider flashed red light, and was then preyed upon by a hungry gecko. Oh, so hungry. In the corner of the square, Yang Ming sat on a chair, looking at the change in his hand and sighing helplessly. At the beginning of the journey, the system prepared a passport for him and a little initial funds, but there is not much left at the moment. An excellent person like me shouldn't have to worry about eating. Call. The cool wind at night hits, so cold, so lonely, so lonely. Yang Ming unconsciously wrapped his coat tightly, called out the system interface, and collected the temporary mission rewards. Ding! Rewards are being distributed. 1% of the power of a generation of Spider-Man poured into his body, bringing warmth to Yang Ming's not-so-strong body. Clenching his fists, feeling the changes in his body, Yang Ming nodded slightly. Even though it's only 1% power, the increase is already obvious. Cuckoo. The corner of Yang Ming's mouth twitched, and his stomach seemed to be even hungrier. He looked at a few old crooks passing by. Does anyone have pity on me, a handsome superhero without money? Well, not at all. Special news, a large number of citizens witnessed the extremely dangerous Red Spider-Man disrupting public order in this city, seriously threatening the lives of citizens, and hereby issue a citywide arrest warrant. On the advertising curtain wall opposite the square, the scene of the Red Spider-Man destroying the building was constantly playing, but there was no trace of the spider monster. Even during this process, the announcer compared Yang Ming with Spider-Woman, praised Spider-Woman's heroic deeds, and compared Yang Ming to a spider demon. Seeing this, Yang Ming, who was worrying about food, just glanced at it and stopped paying attention. Although the relationship between the police and Spider-Woman can be seen by anyone with a discerning eye, there must be other reasons for the quick decision that Yang Ming is an enemy rather than a friend. Yang Ming didn't bother to care about these things, the most important thing now was to fill his stomach. Hey buddy, how are you? At this time, two unscrupulous youths approached Yang Ming and greeted him warmly. Yang Ming's eyes lit up. Are you trying to rob me? Actually think that I have money, two innocent children. The two looked at each other, feeling a little embarrassed. It was embarrassing to be discovered. Ahem, buddy, you know. The two took out the knives in their pockets, and there was no expression on their dark faces. Yang Ming Nuzui gestured around and said, "It's inconvenient because there are so many people here, let's change to another place." Hearing this, the two of them had question marks on their faces. Although they knew that Asians were the best to be bullied, it was the first time they had seen such a cooperative Asian. Half an hour later, Yang Ming walked out of the uninhabited alley with a toothpick in his mouth, and weighed the dollars in his hand. Hey, a world without mobile payment is quite convenient. These two guys robbed at least 3 waves today, and the harvest was good. Yang Ming grinned, and with a thought, the red, blue and gold 3-color card appeared at his fingertips. Spider-Man Nano Metal Suit. The fingertip card began to melt, and the nano metal quickly covered the whole body and turned into a gorgeous battle suit. Friday, connect to the internet and search for Peter Parker's location. Yang Ming called the artificial intelligence equipped with the suit. Since there is only Spider-Woman in this world, he also wants to know what happened to Peter Parker at this time. Sir, a total of 39 Peter Parker have been searched, please narrow the search range. Queens, New York. Sir, the search was successful. Parker Apartments, Queens, New York. Downstairs in the apartment, Yang Ming was gnawing on a hamburger and looking at the not-so-luxury apartment in front of him, he couldn't help but be speechless. Tisk tisk tisk, I didn't expect Peter Parker in this world to be a charterer. It's interesting. This building is the property of Ben Parker. Ben Parker has no children and only one relative, Peter Parker. Of course, this building can only be taken over by Peter Parker in the future. After finishing the burger in one sitting, Yongming walked into the apartment elevator and pressed the floor. 9th floor, 9011. Ding dong. When the doorbell was pressed, the door opened, and the white-haired old man with a benevolent face saw that it was a young Asian, and he quickly realized it. "Young man, are you the tenant who just called?" Ben Parker asked with a smile. Yongming smiled and nodded. "Yes, my name is Yongming, I'm from Dongfang Huasha, and I want to rent a house here." "Haha, yummy, what a delicious name, please come in." "Ah, Mr. Parker, it's Yongming, not Yummy," Yongming explained. "Okay, please forgive my impoliteness, Yummy." Yongming. Following Ben Parker into the house, Yongming noticed at a glance the young man in the abandoned house lying on the sofa watching TV in the living room. Sighing stubble, unruly long hair, dull eyes, thin body. The Peter Parker of this world, Yongming has seen in the materials. Sure enough, a life of ease leads to depravity. Ben Parker smiled embarrassedly, and called out to Peter Parker. "Peter, the guests are here." Peter Parker glanced back at Yongming and greeted him listlessly. "Hi, I'm Peter Parker." "Hi, my name is Ming Yang." "Nice to meet you, Yummy." Yongming. The crooked pronunciation is really. "Mr. Yummy, can I see your passport or visa?" Ben Parker said. Yongming nodded, and handed over the passport prepared for him by the system to the other party. After a while, the two parties finished the formalities, and the US dollars they just got flew away before they were warmed up. Fortunately, the law and order in this city is chaotic, and all kinds of criminals emerge in an endless stream, and Yongming still has to earn. Officially checked into Parker's apartment, Yongming cleaned the room casually, and then used a virtual computer to access the official internet. Friday, connect to official alerts and stay tuned. Yongming swiped the virtual interface, and the map of Queens was enlarged, with red dots flickering from time to time. The location shown by the red dot is the current crime scene, and the virtual computer is connected to the official internet, allowing Yongming to pay attention to this aspect anytime and anywhere. There are many ways to make money, the simplest and crudest is burning, killing and looting. Because he wants to maintain the image of an Oriental, Yongming can't be an outsider. Therefore, it is also a good choice to pretend to be a superhero in the world of superheroes. Paying attention to the flashing red dot all the time, Yongming came to the window, turned over and jumped down. 3 days later, at dawn, downstairs in Parker's apartment, Yongming, who had finished his morning run, happened to meet Peter Parker, who was about to leave the abandoned house. "Hey, Peter, you actually went out, cut your hair, shaved your beard, and trimmed your nose hair." Yongming looked surprised. This guy doesn't necessarily go out once a month, let alone it's so early. Peter Parker seemed to be in a good mood today, and he looked handsome after tidying up. "Hey, Yummy, there is a Spider-Woman Support Club event today, do you think I'm okay?" With a shy smile on his face, Peter Parker tidied up his clothes, hoping to hear words of praise from Yongming. Yongming took a look at the other party. This guy is actually a fan of Spider-Woman. "Well, Peter, the plaid shirt makes you look out of shape. How about this, I'll take you to the mall to pick out clothes, and you take me to the Spider-Woman support meeting to see." He laughed. "This suggestion seems great, what are you waiting for, let's go." Peter Parker did not refuse. "Wait, I'll go back and change my clothes first." At the event site, fans are furiously arranging the scene. "Peter, no wonder you set off so early, it turns out that you are going to arrange the scene with them." Behind the busy Peter Parker, Yongming folded his arms, showing no intention of helping at all. Peter Parker wiped the sweat from his brow, turned back and smiled and said, "Yes, since a large number of spider monsters appeared in this city a year ago, Spider-Woman, who aims to eliminate spider monsters, is the only idol in my life." Yongming was thoughtful. How did those spider monsters appear? No one knows. This kind of thing is something the police should worry about, they should know. After speaking, Peter Parker continued to work hard. "Police." Yongming shook his head. He used a virtual computer to connect to the official internet, but he didn't discover the secret about the spider monster. "Peter, do your work first, I'll go out for a walk." "Okay, but don't go too far, it will be very lively later." Soon, the layout of the support club was almost the same. more and more fans came here, and even many cosplay girls wearing Spider-Woman's suits entered the stage to perform. Yang Ming returned to the scene with a hamburger in his mouth, wiped the sauce from his mouth, and looked depressed. There are still no Chinese restaurants around here, and I almost vomit from eating these junk foods every day. Forget it, I'll go to the supermarket later to see what materials I can make a few hard dishes by myself. Throwing the rest of the hamburger into the trash can, Yang Ming watched the Spider-Woman on the stage with great interest. It has to be said that these Spider-Woman legs are enough for him to play for a year. Hi Yami, you're back. Peter Parker found Yang Ming, pointed at the cosplay girl on the stage with an idiotic look on his face. How about it, isn't it great here? Yang Ming curled his lips. This old man has been frank all his life. Why does he always push these programs to me? It's really annoying. Peter Parker was stunned. Yami, what are you talking about? Yang Ming shook his head. It's nothing, it's my fault for messing with you. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, the roar of locomotives resounded from far to near the scene, and dust was everywhere not far away, and more than a dozen locomotives were speeding towards this side, all wearing leather clothes and pants, men with earrings and tattoos. Oh cuties, you're having a party, you look so happy. More than a dozen locomotives surrounded the scene, and the leader, Dao Scar, got off the car and laughed. The hideous scar on his face shocked everyone present. It's Pete, the local snake here. Fear appeared in Peter Parker's eyes, and he subconsciously hid behind Yang Ming. Yang Ming glanced at Peter Parker behind him, and whispered, Peter, if Spider-Woman sees you like this, she won't admit that you are her fan. Hearing this, Peter Parker clenched his fists. The reality is cruel. I also want to be a hero and a guardian of this city, but I know this is impossible. Peter, be more confident, you will become a hero. Yang Ming patted Peter on the shoulder. Really? Peter's eyes lit up. Yang Ming's smile restrained. Of course it's fake. Peter. On the other side, Pete and the younger brothers set their sights on the young and beautiful cosplay girl. Oh, thank God for sending me the beautiful Spider-Woman. I thought you'd love to have a drink with us, wouldn't you? Pete left the others behind, surrounded the cos girls with his younger brothers, and slammed the accelerator wantonly to threaten them, causing the girls to scream again and again. As it turns out, pierced tattoos and leather pants are not every girl's cup of tea. Please don't, we're Spider-Woman fans. A strong male fan was knocked to the ground by a baseball bat just as he tried to stand up to stop it. Pete despised everyone, and said with his ears, Who are you fans? Speak up, I can't hear you. Among the silent crowd, Yang Ming rubbed his chin and smiled. This kind of thing can happen in broad daylight, you are really free here. Peter Parker hurriedly shushed, and said cautiously, Yami, keep your voice down. Peter, it's time for you to act. Suddenly, Yang Ming pushed Peter Parker out of the crowd and shouted, Peter Parker, Spider-Woman's most loyal fan, declares war on you, let's fight. Peter Parker, who was pushed in front of the crowd, was in a daze, and Peter was also in a daze. What? Duel? Seeing someone come forward, the fan group was excited. It's Peter Parker. Come on, Peter Parker. Well done Peter Parker. Down with him, Peter Parker. The fans cheered and screamed, but Yang Ming suddenly said again, Peter is too thin, he can't beat him. Fan club. Peter Parker. Yummy, are you trying to kill me? Peter Parker roared wildly inside. Slender monkey who is overconfident, you are very courageous. Pete was gearing up, approaching step by step with a smirk. Wait, there should be some misunderstanding between us. Peter Parker's face was flustered, and he was overwhelmed by the opponent's momentum, and retreated repeatedly. Go to hell, idiot. Just when Pete punched hard and was about to break the bridge of Peter's nose, a mechanical arm resembling an octopus tentacle suddenly extended and bombarded from outside the event site. The terrifying force instantly smashed Pete into a pulp, and the ground shattered, gravel splash. Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Blood splashed all over Peter, and the bloody scene in front of him made his face pale to the extreme, and he couldn't help retching on the spot. Soon, under the terrified and shocked eyes of the crowd, 3 other mechanical arms appeared in their sight one after another, and a short and fat man wearing sunglasses volleyed in the air with the help of the mechanical arms. God, what is this? An octopus-like mechanical arm, an octopus mutant warrior. What a terrifying mechanical monster. The breath of evil is coming. God, please send Spider-Woman to us. Everyone was forced to the corner without knowing it. While praying in their hearts, the 4 mechanical arms brought the short and fat man to the stage. Kakaka. The claws at the end of the mechanical arm were deeply embedded in the countertop, debris flying, and the short and fat man looked down at the frightened crowd. Tell me, where is Peter Parker? He asked, his tone full of anger, and his fleshy face became more ferocious. For a moment, everyone turned their attention to Peter Parker, who was retching. Okay. The chunky man followed his gaze, and a mechanical arm suddenly locked Peter Parker's head, pulling him in front of him, so that Peter's face was facing him, and the severe pain made Peter howl uncontrollably. Looking at this strange face, the short and fat man was furious. You are not Peter Parker at all, you are not Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Peter Parker had a severe headache, and couldn't break free from the shackles of the mechanical arm, let alone understand the meaning of the other party's words. I know now that you're not Spider-Man, and your name is Peter Parker, so good luck. The chunky man had a gloomy face, manipulating the robotic arm to throw Peter Parker like garbage. Crack. Suddenly, a strange sound made the short and fat man pause. He raised his head subconsciously, and saw a familiar red and blue figure on the top of a short building not far away, holding up a camera and unscrupulously taking pictures of him, and the anger in his eyes instantly soared. It's you, Spider-Man, you finally appeared. The man gritted his teeth. Ding. Temporary mission released. Defeat Dr. Octopus Otto Gunther Octavius, reward Spider-Man with 2% power. Seeing Dr. Octopus Otto's eyes locked on him, Yang Ming, who quietly put on the Spider-Man suit, put away the camera and waved hello. Hey, Sao Aorui, I'm sorry to bother you. Although the person you were looking for is not me, I still want to try your 4 whips. There is no Spider-Man in this world, only Spider-Woman. Dr. Octopus is looking for Spider-Man, with a clear goal, which means that Dr. Octopus in front of him is not Dr. Otto from this world, but from another universe. This reminded Yang Ming of the previous Mission 1. The initial connection of the Spider-Man multiverse turned out to be the meaning. Thinking of this, Yang Ming grinned. This trip became more and more interesting. The appearance of Yang Ming made a group of people who had never seen Spider-Man exclaim. Whoa, the red Spider-Man, no, it's the Spider Demon in the news. Idiot, this is the Spider-Man that the octopus monster is looking for. The enemy of the evil camp is the hero. Well, it's unlucky for Peter to be considered Spider-Man. Spider-Man, defeat this monster. Come on. Amidst the cheers of a group of people, Dr. Otto could no longer contain his anger, and the mechanical arm threw Peter down and rushed towards Yang Ming. Spider-Man, you ruined my experiment and still want to be the hero of this city, but I won't let you. Dr. Otto roared, and controlled the robotic arm to quickly climb up the low building where Yang Ming was, and a robotic arm quickly extended to catch Yang Ming. Call. The mechanical arm whipped up a gust of wind. To the surprise of Dr. Otto, the Spider-Man in front of him did not choose to dodge like in the previous battle, but instead chose to use his fists to confront his mechanical arm head-on. Boom! There was a muffled sound, and under the impact of a huge force, the roof where the two were located trembled slightly, and dust shook and flew. What? The image of Yang List catching the robotic arm was reflected in the sunglasses. Dr. Otto's eyes were full of shock, and his intuition told him that this Spider-Man was very strange. Yang Ming raised his head and said in a teasing tone, Drive Otto, you seem to have forgotten one thing, how did the train stop back then? As soon as these words came out, Dr. Otto's heart trembled suddenly. He remembered the day he had broken the control lever of that train to get rid of Peter. In the end, Peter used his own body to forcibly stop the high-speed train. This power, remember, Yang Ming chuckled. Then, what was our previous battle? Dr. Otto's expression turned ugly. Hey, at that time Peter's superpowers hadn't fully recovered, so what do you think? Yang Ming asked back. At that time, Peter, Dr. Otto's pupils shrank, and he felt that he was about to discover the truth. But Yang Ming would not give him a chance. Whether it is data or power performance, a generation of Spider-Man can completely crush Dr. Octopus. One of the reasons why he was suppressed by Dr. Octopus in the movie is because Peter's superpowers have not been fully restored. However, after the train incident, Peter's abilities were finally fully restored, and he could completely suppress Dr. Octopus within 2 rounds. Peter Parker can do it, so can Yang Ming. Boom. I saw Yang Ming stepping hard, smashing the concrete on the roof with great force, and his body turned into a cannonball and hit Dr. Otto's chest before he could react. Boom. The two smashed into the opposite unoccupied floor together, a large number of bricks fell down, and a group of people screamed and fled. Kakaka. On the floor, the 4 mechanical arms bombarded the surrounding concrete crazily, and the floor was instantly shattered, but the red and blue figures constantly jumping in the dust could not be captured. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The white spider silk kept shooting, and a large number of spider webs covered the entire floor. The 4 mechanical arms were contaminated with a large number of spider webs, and their movements quickly became slow. Yang Ming hung upside down on the roof along the spider's thread, waved his hands and said with a smile, "Drive Otto, I think you should be captured without a fight." Dr. Otto hurriedly cleaned the spider silk on the robotic arm, and at the same time couldn't help asking, "I see, you are not Peter, who are you?" Yang Ming turned over and landed, and calmly patted the dust on the battle suit. "It's just a passing Spider-Man, you remember it for me." After finishing speaking, Yang Ming leapt forward, about to remove this guy's mechanical arm. Call out. At this moment, spider threads were shot out of the wall pierced by the mechanical arm, aiming at Yang Ming. Yang Ming seemed to have expected it a long time ago, and shot the spider silk casually to stop the attacking spider silk, and turned to look outside the wall. The white and graceful figure flew into the floor, and Dr. Otto was shocked. Another, white Spider-Man. It was Spider-Woman who came. Spider-Woman's eyes wandered between Dr. Otto and Yang Ming for a moment, and she spoke softly. "Spider-Man, I need to know what happened to this mechanical octopus." Yang Ming shrugged. "Sorry, he's mine. You know, I don't want to be your enemy, but I have to catch him." There was no hostility in Spider-Woman's tone, but she had assumed a fighting posture while speaking. Yang Ming shrugged. "All right, last time we had a hasty goodbye, now take this opportunity to have a good chat." Although he had roughly guessed the true identity of Spider-Woman, it was always right to confirm. Whoa, whoa, whoa. In an instant, Yang Ming fired spider webs one after another to cover Spider-Woman's figure, intending to restrict the opponent's actions. Unexpectedly, Spider-Woman was already prepared. She was faster than Yang Ming in terms of agility and speed. She escaped from being surrounded by spider silk in the blink of an eye, and turned into a white shadow to walk around every corner of the floor, which made Yang Ming unable to lock onto her opponent. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Immediately afterwards, the white spider silk attacked from all directions quickly, and this time it was Yang Ming's turn to avoid the attack of the spider silk. Puff puff. Yang Ming launched the spider silk to use his strength to fly away, relying on his flexible body to avoid the attacking spider silk, but gradually he felt strenuous. This guy's speed is too fast, and he can't catch the opponent at all. Once entangled by the spider silk, Yang Ming will immediately reveal his flaws, and although he will not be defeated in the next battle, he will be at a disadvantage. "Dear Mr. Spider, it's still too late to promise." The white shadow flickered, and the voice of Spider-Woman came from all around, returning to the naughty state last time. Yang Ming grinned, and while avoiding the spider silk, a red and blue card appeared with 2 fingers. Spider-Man suit, 2nd generation. "Oh, it's too early to be happy, let's play with you with this battle suit." The door of space suddenly appeared, and Yang Ming's figure was submerged in it, overlapping with Spider-Man's suit. Ding! The suit is in use. Crack! The door of space shattered, and red and blue figures burst out. This suit is roughly similar to the previous suit, except that the white eyes are black. The moment he put on the 2nd generation Spider-Man suit, Yang Ming immediately noticed the difference in his body. The strength has weakened, but the agility attribute and spider sense have been strengthened a lot, and the body has become much lighter. Call out. The wrist device fired spider silk, and Yang Ming made a few difficult movements in the face of the dense spider silk covering it, easily passing through the range covered by the spider silk, scanning the surroundings with his eyes, and soon found the hidden Spider-Woman. Got you. Call out. With the super elasticity of the spider silk, Yang Ming made a leap to intercept Spider-Woman. What? How did you do it? Spider-Woman's tone was astonished. How could the opponent's speed become so much faster? You'll know. Yang Ming chuckled, and quickly approached the other party with a spider thread. Spider-Woman is very fast, and correspondingly she must not be strong in terms of strength. Although the second-generation Spider-Man is also not good at strength, he chose close combat because he has enough confidence. Call. With a figure like the wind, a fist appeared in front of Spider-Woman in the blink of an eye. Spider-Woman didn't have time to react, so she could only compete with her opponent. Bang bang bang. A muffled sound resounded on the floor full of spider silk, and the two moved so fast that ordinary people could not see clearly. During this process, Spider-Woman obviously felt the pressure brought to her by the opponent's fists and feet. Following Yang Ming's decisive throw over the shoulder, Spider-Woman shattered the wall and flew out of the building. "I'm very sorry, my ex-girlfriend is a women's boxing champion." Yang Ming's tone was full of sadness. "Don't force me." Spider-Woman seemed a little angry, using the spider silk to fly in the air, and a different blood-colored spider thread was launched from her wrist. Puff! The spider sensed an alarm. Yang Ming subconsciously stopped chasing, and the bloody spider silk fell silently on the ground under his feet. Hiss! Black smoke suddenly rose, and the solid concrete was immediately corroded by blood-colored spider silk to form irregular potholes. Spider silk is poisonous. Seeing this, Yang Ming's scalp instantly went numb, and goosebumps appeared all over his body, so he didn't continue to approach. This guy's spider silk is emitted from the body, so, she is poisonous. It's so poisonous, I'm afraid it will be YYDS. Seeing that Yang Ming stopped chasing and Spider-Woman was flying to another building, he breathed a sigh of relief. Yang Ming's rich combat experience caught her by surprise. Be careful next time you see him. Something's wrong. Where's the mechanical octopus? Scanning the battlefield, Spider-Woman failed to find the trace of Dr. Octopus. At this time, Yang Ming also discovered the disappearance of Dr. Otto. "Oh, this guy runs pretty fast." With a grin, he is about to put on a nanometal suit and use the virtual computer to track down Dr. Octopus. As soon as he took out the card, Yang Ming paused. Spider-Woman is a problem. This guy is poisonous and will be hard to deal with. But soon, the problem was solved. Boom! In a messy floor, the walls were shattered by a huge force, the ferocious spider legs slowly pushed aside the gravel, and the spider monster appeared again. The blood-red spider eyes stared straight in the direction of Spider-Woman, turning a blind eye to Yang Ming. Yang Ming looked at Spider-Woman thoughtfully. In the past 2 days, he has watched a lot of news about Spider-Woman. It seems that every time this guy appears, he will attract spider monsters. This time is no exception. Interesting, very interesting. Yang Ming launched the spider silk to use his strength to fly high-rise buildings, then turned around and waved and laughed at Spider-Woman. "Miss Spider, this monster is handed over to you." Spider-Woman. She's Spider-Woman, monsters appear and she can't go. After half an hour. Boom, boom, boom. Among the tall buildings, a fast-moving train is on top. Yang Ming raised his left hand, turned off the tracking information of the virtual computer, and turned his head to look at Dr. Octopus with a dignified face, as if he was facing an enemy. "Drive Otto, you deliberately waited for me here after you discovered my tracking. It seems that you have a big opinion on me." Dr. Otto stared at the nanometal suit on Yang Ming's body, and then at the maintenance sign far away from the train track. The smile on his face became sinister. "No matter who you are, I still want to know if you can do what Peter can do." As he said that, the mechanical arm behind him extended to the front of the train, without hesitation to increase the speed of the train to the fastest speed, and then destroyed the joystick. Last time, he used Peter to exhaust all his strength to stop the train, and then easily captured Peter alive. This time, he intends to continue to do so. The passengers in the carriage screamed in fear of the sudden change, but Yang Ming remained unmoved. "Drive Otto, I think I should popularize the legal knowledge in my hometown for you," he said with a serious face. Willing to die can be roughly divided into 2 types. One is that there is an obligation to do nothing, and the other is that there is no obligation to do nothing. For those who have the obligation to do nothing, the perpetrator violates the criminal law, and is generally classified as intentional homicide. For those who do not have the obligation to do nothing, do not constitute a crime, and at best can only be condemned morally. "I'm not from this country. I'm not a police officer, they don't think of me as a superhero, and I'm under no obligation to act in this situation. So, you know, my reasons for not shooting are very good, just perfect. Quote. Yang Ming's expression was very relaxed, and he even wanted to pick his nose. Dr. Octopus, what the hell is this guy talking about? Why can't I understand at all? I am a doctor. Okay, don't waste your time. Yang Ming stretched, and 4 mechanical spider legs popped up from behind, intending to complete the temporary task. In Spider-Man: No Return for Heroes, the strength of several villains from the multiverse will be strengthened to varying degrees. If he continues to play, the Dr. Octopus in front of him may explode, or not. Friday, activate one-hit kill mode. As Yang Ming called for artificial intelligence, the white eyes on the metal mask instantly turned blood red, the 4 mechanical spider legs exuded sharp metallic luster, and the cold death breath enveloped Dr. Otto. The one-hit kill mode loaded by Iron Man on the nanometal suit makes the little spider far more lethal than the previous 2 generations of Spider-Man. In the ultimate battle, there are countless Thanos troops who fell in the one-hit kill mode, and they are worthy of one-hit kill. Boom! Just as Yang Ming was about to make a move, the roar of propellers came from the sky, and several helicopters quickly approached the train at high altitude. Da da da! The machine gun loaded in the helicopter sprayed flames and fired at Yang Ming without hesitation, but ignored the existence of Dr. Octopus. It seems that it is not an official force, and the clown behind him finally couldn't help but make a move. Shrouded in berserk firepower, Yang Ming sneered, advancing instead of retreating, and quickly approached Dr. Otto with the assistance of the mechanical spider legs. The bullets fell on the suit and only collided with sporadic sparks, which did not pose any threat at all. Dr. Otto saw Yang Ming rushing towards him with red eyes, and looked at the helicopter above his head. He seemed to understand something, so he manipulated the mechanical arm to sweep towards the tall building next to him. Kakaka! The 4 octopus robotic arms extended and bombarded the curtain wall of the tall building, and Dr. Otto quickly climbed to the roof. Yang Ming launched the spider silk and was about to chase after him, but suddenly found a child screaming from the out-of-control train, and patted his forehead helplessly. Alas, there's no more loving Spider-Man than I am. Avoiding machine gun fire, Yang Ming turned over and landed in the train cockpit, with his right hand on the train control device. Friday, stop the trains. Okay, sir. Wow wow wow. Immediately, the nano-metal covering Yang Ming's right hand turned into liquid metal and flowed into the control device, and the virtual computer displayed the 3D drawing of the control device. Squeak. Tap the virtual computer. Sparks burst out under the train, the brakes are activated, and the train is pulled off the train at a rapid speed. Looking back at the crowd in the train, Yang Ming expressed his heart to the cute little blonde girl, and then launched spider webs to fly across the tall buildings. At this time, Dr. Otto had already reached the roof, and seeing that the train was easily stopped by Yang Ming, he was shocked and shouted that it was impossible. Dear Octopus Warrior, the boss asked us to pick you up. A helicopter hovered over Dr. Otto's head, and the machine gunner waved to Dr. Otto. Otto gritted his teeth and looked unhappy. My name is Otto Gunther Octavius, not an octopus. Okay, Dr. Otto, please come with us, our boss wants to see you. Dr. Otto hesitated for 2 seconds, but did not refuse. No matter who this guy's boss is and why he is saved, but to restart the experiment, a large amount of startup capital is necessary. If he doesn't go, he won't have money to conduct experiments. Okay, I'll leave with you. As he spoke, Dr. Otto was about to control the robotic arm to board the helicopter. Hey Dr. Otto, this helicopter is mine. The white spider silk shot out at the bottom of the helicopter suddenly, and Yang Ming flew up from the blind spot of the machine gun. The moment he approached the helicopter, the 4 sharp mechanical spider legs retracted instantly, and the whole person rushed into the cabin and disappeared. It's Spider-Man chasing him. Fire! No, I can't lock onto Spider-Man. Get out of here. Drive Otto, get on another helicopter. Dr. Otto looked vigilantly at the helicopter that was entangled by Yang Ming, and quickly retreated. The mechanical arm locked the other helicopter circling the roof and left. At the same time, Yang Ming was inside the helicopter. Throwing the machine gunner and driver off the helicopter casually, Yang Ming let Friday control the helicopter to land on the roof slowly. You can do the mission anytime, but you can't hit me with a helicopter. Yang Ming looked annoyed. Friday, track the signal connection. Sir, according to the signal connection of this helicopter, the final position of the signal was successfully tracked. He clicked on the virtual computer, and the map displayed the Osborne Group in New York. Osborne, Norman Osborne. Yang Ming frowned. There should be no one else but Norman. The other party's purpose of rescuing Dr. Otto will not be so simple. Ding. Temporary mission opened. Investigate the secrets of the Osborne Group, and reward a generation of Spider-Man with 3% power. Yang Ming grinned. It's interesting that a new temporary task can be issued before the last temporary task is completed. Hold on, Spider-Man, we meet again. At this time, George led the police officers to arrive late and approached with a gun. Yang Ming had a look of pity. He finally got a helicopter, and it was going to be cheaper for others. Getting rich is as difficult as going to the blue sky. Looking at the police officers gradually surrounding him, Yang Ming waved his hand and jumped down from the tall building. Let him run away again. George cursed. Director Stan C. Spider-Man seems to have changed his suit. I know. George frowned. Summon the fans of the Spider-Woman fan club. I want to know how the octopus monster appeared. Police station, interrogation room. Hey, officer, I've said it 800 times, and I wasn't really there. Yang Ming looked innocently at the young policeman in front of him. The police officer looked at the record and asked, where did you go at that time? I saw the situation was not good and ran away. There were so many people at that time, how did you run away? My ex-girlfriend was on the women's track and field team. 10 minutes later, when Yang Ming walked out of the examination room, he immediately saw Peter with dark eyes and a white cloth wrapped around his head. Hi, Peter, are you okay? Yang Ming greeted with a smile. Yummy, I consider you a friend, why do you push me, I almost died. Peter asked angrily. Yang Ming looked mysterious, and whispered, because I found that Spider-Woman is nearby. If you don't show your brave side, how can Spider-Woman pay attention to you? Peter's eyes lit up, but his anger was gone. Spider-Woman following me. Of course, you are the bravest in the audience. If you don't pay attention, who do you pay attention to? Peter exclaimed excitedly. Yeah, thank you so much, Yummy, you are my best friend. Haha, you're welcome, just ask Uncle Parker to reduce my rent. No problem, this is what friends should do. Peter assured, patting his chest. Hey, Peter, I heard that you were mistaken for Spider-Man by the octopus monster. The crisp sound of high-heeled shoes echoed in the corridor, and the choppy blonde walked towards the two of them. Hi Gwen, how are you? Peter waved. Yummy, this is my best friend, Gwen Stacy, and the daughter of Uncle George, the director. Peter introduced. George, the director who just clamored to catch Spider-Man. The corner of Yang Ming's mouth twitched. Best friends. How many best friends do you have? Peter smiled embarrassedly. Well, this, you understand. Gwen was not surprised by Peter's appearance, and looked at Yang Ming. Hi, I'm Gwen. Hi, I'm Yang Ming. Yummy, nice to meet you. Yang Ming. He was powerless to refute. Glancing at the white gloves on Gwen's hands, Yang Ming's expression was wonderful. What are you doing? Don't you usually change your battle clothes? Seeing that Yang Ming was focusing on his gloves, Gwen subconsciously put his hands behind his back and smiled awkwardly. Haha, this is the same as Spider-Woman Limited Edition, isn't it great? It's great, it's amazing. Yang Ming rolled his eyes in his heart. Gwen, the Spider-Woman of this world, he guessed right. However, if you want to complete the task, you need further evidence. Peter showed interest in the same gauntlet as Spider-Woman, and Gwen didn't give him the chance. She changed the subject and said, Peter, why does the octopus monster call you Spider-Man? Peter shook his head. He recognized the wrong person. Gwen seemed to think of something, and looked at Yang Ming. Yummy, when you went to the scene with Peter, I heard that you left early. Yang Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Did he suspect me so soon? Yeah, I was too scared, so I slipped away first. Oh, that's such a pity, you didn't get to see the scene of Spider-Woman beating Spider-Man. Gwen looked regretful. Yang Ming, shameless, too shameless. At this time, a couple walked quickly in the corridor. Hey, Peter, have you been headshot? The man asked concerned. Hi, rich, handsome, When Yang Ming saw this person for the first time, he immediately felt rich and noble. Harry, I'm fine. Peter's eyes wandered, afraid to look at the woman next to Harry. Mary, you're here too. He whispered hello. Mary Jane moved gently and gave Peter a hug. Peter, Harry and I rushed over as soon as we heard you were hurt. I'm glad you're okay. She breathed a sigh of relief. On the side, Yang Ming saw this scene and took a step back to stand beside Gwen. Gwen, Peter doesn't seem to be in the right state, he said deliberately. Harry Osborn, the future heir of the Osborn Group, the son of Norman Osborn and Peter's good friend. Mary Jane, Harry's girlfriend who later became Peter's girlfriend. This wonderful and awkward relationship is so exciting. Seeing this scene, Gwen shook her head helplessly. You can see it too, poor Peter. Well, that's pathetic, but... Yang Ming suddenly changed his voice. If Peter is Spider-Man, can he snatch Mary away from Harry? Gwen looked at Yang Ming in surprise. Yummy, Peter can't be Spider-Man, his character is too weak to succeed. Yang Ming grinned, his smile became weird. Yeah, Harry is his best friend, how could he do such a thing? Gwen was a little confused, what is this guy talking about? Okay, we should leave. Yang Ming said to Gwen. Where are you going? I will see you off. Gwen smiled, we're not on the way, so you can drive Peter home. Yang Ming shook his head, I don't have a car. Gwen. Harry must have one, you can rub his car. Yang Ming said. Gwen's stiff smile brightened, that's a really good idea. Boom. On the busy street, the roar of the luxury sports car resounded through the corner, and finally stopped at the gate of Parker's apartment. Peter, you're home. Harry in the driver's seat turned his head. Thank you for taking me home, Harry. Peter got out of the car and skillfully arranged his hair that had been blown into an afro. The co-pilot was Mary, and he and Yang Ming could only sit in the extremely narrow, back seat. Yummy, your condition is not very good. He turned to look at Yang Ming with dull eyes and the same afro. Yang Ming took a deep breath. Peter, you should buy a car for yourself. Peter wondered. Why? Ben Parker has a car, but he doesn't like driving. Yang Ming looked up at the sky, because I can't afford it. Peter, Yummy, you are so funny. In the room, Gwen came to the bookcase, opened the secret compartment, and hung the Spider-Woman suit in the special glass wardrobe. In the box under the closet was a ball of white spider silk. Gwen put the spider silk into the detection instrument and quickly came to a conclusion. Synthetic spider silk. Gwen looked puzzled, and took out another ball of spider silk. Biological spider silk, artificial spider silk, why do Spider-Man have two kinds of spider silk? Dong dong. There was a knock on the window, and a voice answered her question. Hey, Spider, the spider silk will of course be different if you use different battle suits. Gwen hurriedly turned her head and saw Spider-Man was sticking to the window glass, making a strange heart-shaped gesture to her. It's you, Spider-Man. Gwen immediately became vigilant. Crack. Yang Ming raised his camera to take pictures of the Spider-Woman suit in the dark space. Goodbye, Spider. Don't go. Spider-Man disappeared by the window, and Gwen hurriedly called his father. Father, the identity of Spider-Woman has been exposed. Ding. Task is completed, and the Spider-Man multiverse is further connected. Mission. Recruit a multiverse Spider-Man and form a multiverse Avengers alliance. Reward. New Spider-Man suit. Back in the room, Yang Ming stared at the system tasks, feeling a fit of disgust in his heart. Recruit Spider-Man and form the Avengers alliance. Is this work done by humans? Totally thankless. Let him form the Avengers alliance, maybe he fired the first shot in the alliance civil war. He has never been a reliable person. But he really wants the new Spider-Man skin. System, you win. Yang Ming gritted his teeth and decided to start with Gwen Spider first. I'll kill you if you don't join. Dad, who made this guy clamor to capture Spider-Man every day? Special news, according to the police, the evil Spider-Man who appeared 4 days ago reappeared on 7th Street in Queens, New York this afternoon, wreaking havoc on residential buildings and train safety. In the TV broadcast, the host did not mention Yang Ming's heroic deeds of punishing evil and promoting good in the past few days. It's too much. Yang Ming pursed his lips, intending to take advantage of the dark to go out to fight crimes and calm down, and save his wallet by the way. Dong dong. Suddenly, the door knocked, and Yongming got up to open the door. Hey Yami, Uncle Ben asked me to bring you some fruit. Peter came in with a fruit plate, just in time to see Spider-Man on TV. Yami, is Spider-Man really the evil one? Peter's smile suddenly faded. He saved me today, he said. Yongming shrugged, took the fruit plate and ate it by himself. You already have the answer in your heart, don't you? Peter, what do your parents do? He asked curiously. My parents were both scientists who studied biotechnology. They passed away when I was very young, Peter said. Yongming was thoughtful, as the key research project about spider genes. How do you know? Peter asked in surprise. Yongming didn't answer, and asked again, your father knew George Stancy. Yami, what's wrong with you? Peter sensed something was wrong. Seeing that Peter did not deny it, Yongming almost guessed something. Perhaps everything is derived from the mutant spider gene researched by Peter's father. Gwen became Spider-Woman, probably also bitten by a mutant spider. Knowing that his daughter Gwen is Spider-Woman, George would notify Gwen to save the scene if there are vicious incidents that cannot be solved. If he pursues Spider-Man so hard, he probably wants to know something. The emergence of spider monsters is also due to the spread of mutant spider genes. Every time Gwen appears, she will attract spider monsters. It seems that there are people behind the control. I don't know if it has anything to do with the Osborn group. Coupled with the multiverse connection, this world will be more interesting. Yami, you are weird today. Peter came to Yongming and interrupted his thoughts. Yongming shook his head. It's nothing, you said I'm your best friend, so I plan to get to know you better. Hearing this, Peter's eyes were strange. Yami, do you want to know me? Peter, put away your evil thoughts, the author will not agree. Looking at the fruits on the table, Yongming suddenly lost his appetite. I still have something to do. Remember to turn off the TV after you finish watching. With that said, Yongming subconsciously walked towards the windowsill. Quote. I almost forgot, I have to go through the door. A week later. Woo. The sirens blared, and when George led the police to the scene, he saw 3 naked men tied together by spider silk, squatting pitifully in a corner. It's like this again, Spider-Man ran away again. George slammed on the car door angrily. The old police officer pointed at the 3 people who had no clothes, and looked puzzled. Director Stancy, Spider-Man's hobby, well, I mean, why would he do this? He wants to replace Spider-Woman, that's a provocation. George concluded. The old police officer pretended to be angry. Unforgivable, Chief, we must catch Spider-Man. Everyone at the bureau knew that George was a big fan of Spider-Woman. In a tall building not far away, Yongming counted the dollars he harvested today, and casually threw away the clothes of the 3 of them. Haha, the harvest is good, and I don't have to worry about the rent for next month. Beep beep. The phone rang, and Yongming answered the call. Hey, Yami, are you still working? It's too hard. Peter on the other end asked concerned. Peter, all living beings are suffering, you have to remember this. Yami, your culture is too deep, I still can't understand it. Okay Peter, what do you want me to do? It's like this. Gwen and her father had a fight. I want to go out with her tomorrow. Maybe she will feel better. It's a good thing, you go. No, Yami, I mean, Uncle Ben isn't home, and I don't have any money. What, you want to borrow money? Yongming's complexion changed drastically, and his tone was bad. Peter, do you want to lose my friendship? The meaning is very simple. Want to borrow money, one word, impossible. Although Harry is rich, Peter will not speak to Harry because of Mary. Yami, I'm willing to pay interest. Okay, Yongming said sincerely. Peter, you are my best friend, and I am willing to help you. Oh, Yami, thank you so much. But I have a request, take me to play with you tomorrow. No problem, my friend. Hanging up the phone, Yongming grinned. He has been working hard recently, so let's go whoring for nothing tomorrow. Call out. Launching the spider silk, Yongming's figure disappeared in the brilliant neon lights. In the night sky, a shooting star streaked across. Spider-Man, do you want to be the patron saint of this city? Chapter 11. In the laboratory, Dr. Otto raised a look of disdain, then turned off the TV, and looked back at the prepared experimental device. Soon, I'm the greatest scientist in the world, and with infinite energy, I'm the strongest. Dr. Otto's eyes lit up. Clap, clap, clap. At this time, there was applause behind him, and Norman Osborn in a suit and leather shoes walked into the laboratory with a smile. Drive, Otto, congratulations, you will become the greatest scientist in the world. Dr. Otto turned his head sideways, and the mechanical arm crashed down to the corner of the laboratory, crushing the hidden mechanical spider. Norman Osborn, the current you is more annoying than the other you. I don't like being watched. Dr. Otto warned. Norman Osborn still kept smiling. No problem, Dr. Otto, everything is up to you. Better so. Dr. Otto turned around with a cold face, checking the device by himself. Neither of them noticed that there was a nano-mechanical spider perfectly integrated into the environment at the top of the laboratory. Parker Apartments. Swish, 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 swish. In the bathroom, Yang Ming, who was showering under the shower, sang loudly, and the screen from the virtual computer was projected on the bathroom glass. Dr. Otto's every move was under Yang Ming's surveillance. Hey, the experimental equipment is ready so soon, it seems that the artificial sun experiment is coming soon. Yang Ming turned off the shower, dried himself, walked out of the bathroom in a bathrobe, and made himself a cup of coffee. The last time Dr. Otto was released was not because Yang Ming had no ability to catch this guy, but because he had another idea. For Dr. Otto's experiment, Norman Osborn spent countless financial and material resources, just for the artificial sun experiment, and the location of the laboratory was also extremely secretive. There is a nano spider with monitoring function stored on the chest of Spider-Man's nano metal suit. It took Yang Ming a week to find Dr. Otto's laboratory to control the nano spider. Yang Ming is very interested in Dr. Otto's artificial sun experiment. In essence, Dr. Otto's artificial sun is very similar to Iron Man's arc reactor. It also uses nuclear fusion for experiments, but the arc reactor is a small nuclear fusion reactor that uses cold fusion technology, while Dr. Otto's artificial sun uses thermonuclear fusion technology. Compared with thermonuclear fusion technology, cold nuclear fusion technology is more difficult to understand. Both of them belong to black technology beyond the times in the movie. Iron Man used a pile of scraps to create a cold fusion pile in the cave of the bird, and later used new elements to create a low-profile version of cosmic magic, which Thanos called a human being cursed by knowledge. Although Dr. Otto is quite inferior in comparison, as long as he has complete information on the arc reactor, he may be able to replicate the same arc reactor. And in the nano suit that Iron Man made for the little spider, the virtual computer happens to have all the data of the arc reactor. Who made Little Spider the real son of Iron Man? Having an arc reactor means that Yang Ming may be able to create Tony's steel armor. But the manufacture of arc reactors, with Yang Ming's knowledge reserve, is far behind. This thing is not something that a scumbag like him can play with. He can only accomplish all this with the help of Dr. Otto. There is still some time before Dr. Otto's experiment, so Yang Ming is not in a hurry. The artificial sun experiment is Dr. Otto's obsession. Even if he has all the materials of the arc reactor, the other party will not give up his ideals, and will only continue to carry out his own experiments with reference to the materials of the arc reactor. Therefore, Yang Ming had to wait until the moment when Dr. Otto was completely desperate before he would produce the arc reactor information. Looking at Dr. Otto, who was testing the experimental equipment in the visual projection screen, Yang Ming touched his chin and looked thoughtful. A Dr. Otto may not be safe enough. The next day, Peter started ringing the doorbell of Yang Ming's room early in the morning. Yummy, get up, let's go find Gwen. I hear you, Peter, watch out for your best friends getting up. Yang Ming opened the door and yawned, then turned around and went to the bathroom to wash up. Peter entered the room, waited until Yang Ming finished washing, and then dragged Yang Ming out. Yummy, let's drive to Chinatown today. In the underground garage, Peter shows off Ben Parker's classic car. Yang Ming rolled his eyes. Peter, you should see a doctor. Chinatown is on the other side of New York, are you sure you want to drive there? Peter was stunned. Yummy, you're right, it's inconvenient to drive, let's take the subway. Wait, drive to pick up Gwen first, and then take the subway together. No, Yummy, you don't know how hard it is to find a parking space near Gwen's house. It's not difficult, her house has a lot of parking spaces. Yang Ming said casually. Peter looked puzzled. Amy, how do you know? Guess. Yang Ming's face remained unchanged. It was impossible to tell the other party that he had investigated Gwen. Gwen's house is not far from Parker's apartment, a 10-minute drive away. Taking the elevator upstairs, Peter rings the doorbell. Hey, Peter, Yummy, you're here. Gwen opened the door, and Yang Ming couldn't help but take a few more glances at the lace pajamas on her body. But Peter is different. He is only interested in Mary's pajamas. Following Gwen into the room, Yang Ming immediately saw George Stancy sitting on the sofa reading a newspaper. When the enemy met, he was extremely jealous. Yang Ming grinned. Hi, Uncle George, I'm Yang Ming. Oh, Yummy, nice to meet you. George smiled friendly. And Peter, I wish you a pleasant trip to Chinatown. After saying this, George continued to look down at the newspaper. Yang Ming glanced at the newspaper in George's hand, and vaguely saw the contents of the newspaper defaming Spider-Man, but George was interested in it. George, Yang Ming's #1 black fan. Gwen, can I visit your room? Yang Ming turned his head, not wanting to see this guy's face. Of course, welcome. Gwen was about to agree when George stood up abruptly. No. Well, I mean, you guys have to go to Chinatown, don't waste your time. He sat down awkwardly and made an excuse. Seeing this, Yang Ming's smile became bright, and Gwen was the Achilles heel of this guy. Uncle George is right, we still have to go to Chinatown. He grinned. And Gwen shook her head helplessly when she saw her father lose his composure. I'm going to change clothes. Don't you need makeup? Yang Ming asked casually. No need, I'm Spider-Woman. Gwen suddenly reacted and froze in place. George, who was reading the newspaper, shook his hands. What? Peter asked curiously. Yang Ming was speechless, covered his face and said, fans of Spider-Woman don't need makeup, do they, Gwen? Gwen smiled stiffly. Yes, that's right, Yummy, you understand me very well. The corner of Yang Ming's mouth twitched. What a fart. At noon, the three of them took the subway to Chinatown in New York. The traditional Chinese characters that can be seen everywhere in the street shops greatly increased Yang Ming's interest in playing, and he raised the camera on his chest to take a few pictures. Peter, there is a Chinese restaurant there, let's try it. Yang Ming pointed to the restaurant on the street. Peter nodded and said with a smile, good idea, I heard that Chinese food tastes very different. He glanced at Gwen who was looking around. Gwen, what about you? Gwen looked back absently. Oh, yes, I'm fine. Okay, what are you waiting for? Yang Ming enthusiastically dragged the two of them towards the restaurant. Boss, we want to steam lamb, steamed deer tail, roast duck, roast chicken. Walking into the restaurant, Yang Ming excitedly started reporting the names of the dishes, thinking that he would finally have a good meal. Oh, this guest, what are you talking about? The blonde waiter looked at Yang Ming in confusion. Yang Ming, there are no Chinese people in Chinatown, and there are no wives in wife cakes. Forget it, bring the menu. Yang Ming gave up struggling, and said after eating. After eating the Chinese food with foreigners' characteristics, Gwen suddenly suggested to go to the nearby martial arts gym. Gwen, why are you going to the martial arts hall? Peter was curious. Gwen said absent-mindedly, it's like this. I've recently become obsessed with kung fu and want to check it out. Peter thought for a while, then suddenly let out a strange cry, made strange movements, and his face was grim. I hit Bruce Lee, I like his movies very much. Yang Ming shook his head helplessly, this guy's personality has collapsed. Peter, don't be ashamed. After speaking, he walked out of the restaurant first. Am I ashamed of my actions? Peter looked at Gwen. Gwen nodded seriously, Bruce Lee is more handsome than you. Peter spread his hands, with a look of admiration on his face. Okay, I admit the fact. Land Rover Martial Arts Hall, a good name. Peter looked up, looked at the door plaque of the Martial Arts Hall and smiled. It's the Dragon and Tiger Martial Arts Hall. Yang Ming rolled his eyes and walked into the Martial Arts Hall first. Hey, are the three here to learn Kung Fu? As soon as he entered the door, an Asian young man greeted him with a smile on his face. Yang Ming looked at this person, looked around the martial arts gym and said, Dragon Tiger Martial Arts Gym, is the boss from Washa. Hearing Washa, the young people are more enthusiastic. That's right, sir is also Chinese. No, I'm from Huasha. Let me introduce to this lady what kind of kung fu you teach. Yang Ming pointed to Gwen. The young man nodded and enthusiastically introduced the martial arts skills. Beautiful lady, our Dragon Tiger Martial Art Museum mainly teaches Xingyi Dragon Fist and Xingyi Tiger Fist. 10 minutes later, Gwen was eager to try under the young man's 3-inch tongue. Peter, Yami, Dragon Fist and Tiger Fist look very powerful, I want to try. Gwen was very excited. Huasha Kung Fu is so powerful, it will definitely help me defeat Spider-Man. This is the real purpose of her coming to Chinatown. Seeing that Gwen was in a state of excitement, Yang Ming was thoughtful, and then a hint of malice appeared in his eyes. Come on, Gwen, I hope you will succeed in your studies and use what you have learned to defeat the enemy. Thank you, I will definitely learn Kung Fu well and defeat the spider. Gwen covered her mouth with her eyes wide open, almost slipping. Beat the spider. Peter's eyes were confused, and he found that his friends had been getting more and more wrong recently. Yang Ming patted Peter on the shoulder. Gwen means to learn Kung Fu and defeat the spider monster who is the enemy of Spider-Woman. Yes, Yami understands me. Gwen smiled awkwardly. I don't know what's wrong recently, as long as she talks about Spider-Man, her state is very unstable, and she feels that her IQ has dropped a lot. It seems that the pressure from Spider-Man is too much. I hope that learning Kung Fu can be normal in the future. Coach, let's start. She turned to look at the young man in Tang suit. The coach nodded. Ma'am, first go to pay the fee and get the card. Soon, a funny scene appeared in the martial arts hall. Coach, do you see my movements right? Gwen bent over, baring her teeth and claws to imitate tiger slapping. Coach, Ms. Gwen, in fact, we not only have tiger boxing here, but also monkey boxing. 10 minutes later. Coach, do you see my movements right? Gwen learned monkey boxing into orangutan boxing. Coach, Ms. Gwen, we actually teach mantis boxing here. Ms. Gwen, in fact, we also teach snake fist. Ms. Gwen, maybe the crane fist. No, it's the crane fist, not the bird fist. Ms. Gwen, well, Ms. Gwen, you should learn tiger fist. Good coach. Ow. Gwen hooked his fingers together and roared like a tigress. His movements imitated the pounce of a tiger, and he flew down the wooden dummy used for boxing, and even used his teeth. No, my wooden dummy. The coach hurriedly stopped Gwen's sweet behavior. Ms. Gwen, you don't need to completely imitate the tiger's attack. The coach's head dilated 3 times. With disheveled hair, Gwen turned her head and spit out the sawdust in her mouth with an excited expression on her face. No, coach, I feel fine, the tiger's weapons are teeth and claws. With the use of teeth and nails, the fighting power is indeed much stronger. Quote. With this fighting style, Spider-Man is sure to be terrified. Awesome, coach. Peter, Yang Ming. It's over, barbecue. The next time I meet this foreign girl, I'm afraid I'll be bitten off. But you can't blame Gwen for this practice. The martial arts are all ostentatious, the coaches are not good, and some martial arts theories cannot be fully translated into English. Limit. Learning these boxing techniques without a trace of martial arts essence is not as good as learning how to fight with shrews. It is simpler and more rude to pounce on and bite. And as far as he's concerned, it's a good thing Spider-Woman gets rough. Thinking of this, Yang Ming stepped forward to cheer for Gwen again. Come on, Gwen, good job, I support your fighting style. Thank you, Yami, you really understand me. Gwen was moved. You're welcome, I won't disturb your practice, I'll go around the area, and I'll come back to you later. With that said, Yang Ming turned and left. Yami, I'll be with you. Peter subconsciously followed Yang Ming, the current Gwen is too scary. Yang Ming waved his hand. Peter, as a gentleman, you have to guard Gwen's side, and practicing Kung Fu is very hard. Oh, Yami, you know, I don't want to. No, you want to. Well, remember to bring me 2 donuts. Leaving the martial arts hall, Yang Ming recalled the scene of Gwen biting the wooden dummy with disheveled hair, and couldn't help shivering. Are you crazy? Are all the good-looking women taking the funny route these days? Or you can't help but let yourself go when you don't wear a battle suit? Shaking his head, Yang Ming went to the convenience store opposite and bought an ice cream. I want to hit 10. Just as he was about to pay, Familiar classic lines came from the TV in the convenience store. Ha! Ip Man in the Mandarin version. Yang Ming's eyes lit up. Marvel World also has this thing. Washa people. The convenience store owner suddenly looked at Yang Ming. Yang Ming smiled. I've been here for a long time. Uncle's Washa language has not dropped at all. The uncle at the convenience store smiled kindly. It's better to be close, eat ice cream, and give me money. Haha, don't worry, I don't intend to renege on my debt. After paying the money, Yang Ming did not leave, eating ice cream and watching the movie with relish. In the screen, Yi Wen's fighting scene with 10 ghost soldiers is very exciting. Before you know it, time flies by. After watching the movie carefully, Yang Ming found something different. He seems to have memorized all the martial arts moves in the movie. It's the Spider-Man suit. Yang Ming realized that he was still wearing a nano-metal suit. The nano-metal suit can be easily put away, and it is easy to hide in the clothes. He thinks it is troublesome, so he hasn't taken it off for the past few days. Using the battle suit, his current physical fitness is the same as that of a little spider, and his memory and learning ability are also far superior to ordinary people. The next moment, he was inexplicably chanting the martial arts concept in the movie, and tried to gesture the movements in the movie with both hands. Boom! There was a muffled sound in the air. Yang Ming protected his body with his left arm, and subconsciously punched a plausible Japanese word punch with his right hand. Forehead. Yang Ming looked down at his hands, his face became weird. What are you doing? Can you really learn kung fu by watching movies? Yo, the young man is interesting. The uncle at the convenience store noticed something strange and got up slowly, with intense interest in his eyes. Young man likes kung fu, go upstairs to practice. The uncle smiled and motioned to go upstairs. Yang Ming frowned. My name is Yang Ming, what do you call uncle? My Angwi's surname is Chen Long. Cheng, Long. Yang Ming's mouth twitched. Chen Long joked. It's Chen Long, Xiao Yang, your Mandarin is not up to par. Uncle Long's lesson is, then practice. Okay, go upstairs. Don't you need to look at the store? No, I can't make much money anyway. Upstairs is a standard practice room, with wooden dummy stakes of different heights placed in the four corners, and the polished and smooth wooden stakes indicate that this thing is not a decoration. Xiao Yang, let's try your level first. If your aptitude is good, I can consider it. When Chen Long put on his practice uniform, his temperament immediately changed, giving him the air of a master. Think about what? Yang Ming asked. Considering taking you as an apprentice. But, don't worry, seeing how poor you are, I won't charge you money. Forehead. Don't be silly, hurry up and hit me. This one. Don't worry, my old bones are very strong. But, brat, let you hit me. Call. Before Chen Long could finish his sentence, Yang Ming's body rose violently, and he came to the opponent like a ghost, demonstrated the punching punch he had just learned, and hit the opponent's abdomen lightly. Humph! Chen Long let out a muffled groan, his old face turned red from holding back, and he couldn't help bowing his waist. It's so fast, I can't react at all, where did the little monster come from? Uncle Long, are you okay? Yang Ming asked concerned. Chen Long waved his hands, clenched his teeth and said, no, it's okay, vomit. He said he was fine and threw up. Hey, Uncle Long, what you ate today is beef noodles. Vomit. Uncle Long, don't talk, help me go to the hospital. In the ward filled with the smell of disinfectant, Chen Long was lying on the bed with a pale face, on a drip, looking extremely weak. His eyes seemed to be sleeping but not sleeping, secretly watching Yang Ming by the window. Beside the window, Yang Ming turned his back to Chen Long, holding a yellowed old leather book in one hand, while studying it carefully, the other hand made a few moves from time to time, and the air also made muffled sounds. Every muffled sound seemed to fall on the bottom of Chen Long's heart, causing his fat middle-aged face to twitch, and his abdomen ached. My boy, what kind of monster is this kid? I showed him a few basic techniques of Wing Chun. This strength, I'm afraid it can kill a cow, right? Quote. Chen Long was speechless secretly, and made up his mind that such a martial arts genius with natural supernatural power must not be let go. Ahem, Xiao Yang, that's good, that's the beginning. It seems that you still have a little bit of talent in Wing Chun. Chen Long put on a kind smile and praised. Yang Ming closed the book, turned around and said with a smile, "Really, Uncle Long, I am very talented." Chen Long's smile was a little stiff. "Well, it's just a little bit of talent, you can't be arrogant." "A little bit." Yang Ming's face was weird. "Why do I feel more than a little bit?" Seeing that Yang Ming's expression was not right, Chen Long thought that his words had hurt the other party's self-esteem, so he comforted him. "Xiao Yang, don't be discouraged. Although your talent is lacking, hard work can make up for it. With your natural power, as long as you take me as your teacher, under my guidance, you will definitely achieve something." "Adore you as a teacher? I don't think so." Yang Ming hid the books behind him as if nothing had happened, with reluctance on his face. Seeing Yang Ming's reluctance, Chen Long was not displeased, but patiently persuaded him. "Xiao Yang, you also know that the method of exerting strength in this book is only an entry-level one. If you don't learn from a teacher, how can I teach you more profound things?" Hearing this, Yang Ming touched his chin thoughtfully. When using the Spider-Man suit, his combat power is basically not weaker than any villain in the Spider-Man series, and there is no need to learn Kung Fu. But if you encounter a group of villains in the future, it will be dangerous. Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus, Lizardman, Green Goblin and other abilities have different strengths, but they are all surface-level powerhouses. In the battle between strong players of the same level, the advantage formed by numbers can already determine everything. Unless his strength can be improved to a higher level and become a god, on the same level as Thor and Loki. To become a god-level powerhouse, a group of surface-level siege may not necessarily form an absolute advantage. Above the god-level powerhouses is the Heavenly Father-level powerhouse who can easily destroy planetary civilizations. Odin, known as the King of the Gods, is the Heavenly Father-level powerhouse, and Thanos with infinite gloves is also one of them. After thinking about it, Yang Ming thinks that learning some special force exerting skills is still very necessary for him now. As for those martial arts routines, it is difficult to play a supporting role in the physical fitness of superpowers, but it is better than nothing. Then, Uncle Long, if I... Just as Yang Ming was about to agree, the door was violently knocked open, and Peter hurried to the ward. "Yummy, you said you were injured on the phone." "Hey, it wasn't you." Peter looked at Chen Long on the hospital bed, and looked at Yang Ming in a daze. Yang Ming rolled his eyes. "Of course not me, thank you for your concern, Peter. By the way, where is Gwen, is she still practicing?" Peter shook his head. "The martial arts school thinks that Gwen's talent is too strong, so they refunded her tuition." Yang Ming, where did she go? Peter looked back, and said strangely, "I don't know, I probably won't get lost." He took out his mobile phone and was about to make a call, when suddenly there were screams from the crowd outside the window. "Oh my God, look, Spider-Woman. Oh oh oh, I see, beautiful Spider-Woman, today is my lucky day." Hearing the word Spider-Woman vaguely, Peter rushed to the window as if he had been beaten with chicken blood, and stretched out his head to look at the place where the crowd gathered. "Oh yummy, look, Spider-Woman has appeared," Peter screamed excitedly. Yang Ming pursed his lips, and following the direction of Peter's finger, he saw the white figure shooting spider threads, flying to the roof of the hospital building several times, saving a patient who was about to commit suicide, and the crowd adored and cheered. The doctor-patient relationship here is also very tense. Yang Ming took a look and lost interest, but soon realized that wherever Spider-Woman appears, there must be spider monsters. "Hey, I just went to grab the wave monster." Yang Ming turned around and said, "Peter, help me take care of Uncle Long, I have something to go out for a while." "Uncle Long, is it this fat uncle?" Before Peter finished speaking, Yang Ming had already rushed out of the ward. "Yummy, you are so rude." Peter muttered something and smiled at Chen Long. "Uncle, my idol is Spider-Woman, who is your idol?" "Ip Man." Peter thought for a while, is Ip Man also a superhero? After a while, there were more frantic screams coming out of the window. Peter hurried to the window and saw an ugly spider monster breaking out of the ground in the hospital park. "Come. Oh, Spider-Woman is going to show off, and Spider-Man has also appeared," Peter exclaimed excitedly. "As the red one, the Spider-Man that appeared in the news recently." At some point, Chen Long also leaned against the window, knocking melon seeds in his mouth. "Hey, uncle, are you okay?" Peter asked suspiciously. Chen Long's face froze, and he quickly returned to the hospital bed with his head covered. Ah, something happened, suddenly I felt a little dizzy. Scare. In the hospital park, the crowd was scattered, and the spider monster slammed into the flowers and plants along the way, rushing towards Gwen's position with red eyes. Ding. Temporary task. Eliminate spider monsters. Reward, 1% power of a generation of Spider-Man. Hey Ms. Spider, what do you want me to do with this monster? Yang Ming didn't wait for Gwen's consent. Red light suddenly lit up in his eyes, and the 8 spider lances popped out behind him. Friday. Activate one-hit kill mode. Okay sir. Scare. With the help of the elasticity of the spider silk, Yang Ming turned over and landed on the spider monster's back. Ignoring the spider monster's screams and resistance, the 8 spider spears flashed cold light and instantly pierced the monster's head. Boom. The running spider monster crashed to the ground, and its inertia caused the ugly monster's body to plow a 10-meter-long dirt pit in the park, and finally smashed into the garden pool. Ding. Mission completed. Gwen flew over, squatted down next to the monster's corpse, and looked up at Yang Ming on the corpse's back. Hey, Spider-Man, we meet again, it's time to settle the last score. Gwen's tone was full of confidence, his legs were slightly bent, his fingers hooked into claws, and he actually planned to use a half-handed, tiger fist, to deal with Yang Ming. Hey, Spider, you're doing well now. Yang Ming made a joke, and hooked his fingers condescendingly. Seeing Yang Ming showing disdain for him in every move, Gwen gritted his teeth. Spider-Man, I seem to hate you a little bit. So what? I'm going to catch you. After Gwen finished speaking, he kicked his legs hard on the ground, and his figure pounced like a cute tiger. Ow, haha, sick white cat, so beautiful. Yang Ming shot the spider silk and retreated. Gwen chased after him. The figures of the two moved and flickered in the park, spider threads hung all over the corners of the park, and the crowd of onlookers actually divided into 2 factions, cheering for their respective idols. Come on, Spider-Man. Spider-Woman is the strongest. Spider-Man is a demon, you stupid people. Idiot, Spider-Man saved a person on a train, he is the embodiment of justice, a real superhero. Obviously, Yang Ming's popularity has grown during this time. And at the foot of the hospital wall, a mechanical spider hid in a gap. In the office, the projection screen on the wall is showing the battle in the hospital park. Norman Osborn, is this your plan too? Dr. Otto looked at Norman Osborn at the side, and the vigilance in his eyes flashed away. Norman Osborn shook his head and smiled. No, Dr. Otto, please believe me, I won't cause any trouble until the experiment is not successful. What's the matter with the spider monster? Dr. Otto asked, pointing to the corpse in the picture. Norman Osborn smiled strangely. I'm going to ask another insidious guy, I'm only responsible for delivering information for him. So much the better. Dr. Otto turned around and said to himself, dangerous guy. Hey, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man, it's so hard to choose. At the hospital scene, Peter couldn't help but ran downstairs, looking at the 2 people who were fighting together, his face was full of confusion. But soon, Peter gritted his teeth and joined the Spider-Woman's side. Spider-Woman, I am your most loyal fan, you must still remember me, don't lose to Spider-Man. Down with Spider-Man. At this time, a more excited shout caught Peter's attention. Drive Miles, why are you here? Peter was surprised. Miles Warren, his father's former student and now a geneticist, often came to his school to study and give lectures. The blonde Miles Warren looked back and was also surprised when he saw Peter. He raised his golden eyes on the bridge of his nose and smiled amicably. Hey Peter, what a coincidence you're here too. What a coincidence, so. You are also a fan of Spider-Woman. Peter looked expectant. Miles Warren looked at the white figure in the distance, his eyes were full of fire. Of course, I've been following Spider-Woman for a long time. Me too. Peter chatted with the other party for a few words, seeing more and more people supporting Spider-Woman, he thought about it for a while, and then sneaked to Spider-Man's side. Come on, Spider-Man, don't be knocked down by dear Spider-Woman. Peter shouted. Spider-Woman, I'm sorry, I love you too. A few minutes later, sirens blared, and a large number of police officers surrounded the hospital park. Spider-Man, don't resist, follow us back to the police station. George shouted with a gun. Hearing the familiar warning, Yang Ming immediately stopped in his tracks, covered his face and said, "The black fans are here, stop playing." Immediately, he saw the palm of his hand as a knife, the strength was generated under his feet, the strength continued to be exerted from his waist, and finally gathered in this punch and exploded. Inch strength. Boom. As if a thunderbolt exploded in the air, the punch that seemed to be an understatement gave Gwen, who rushed to the punch, the illusion of heaven and earth falling apart. Before he had time to react, the moment he approached Gwen's chest, Yang Ming turned his sword into a fist, restraining 7 points of his strength. Boom. In the next moment, Gwen felt the world spinning around his eyes, his chest felt tight, and his strengthened body flew upside down 10 meters away, crashing into the wall behind him and being covered in dust. The battle ended in an instant, and this scene caused an uproar among the onlookers. Oh no, Spider-Woman is defeated. No, God, why? Yeah, that's great, Spider-Man is the strongest. At the scene, seeing Gwen being punched flying, George's face changed drastically. How dare, guys, shoot the shit out of him. Bang bang bang. Clang clang clang. The dense bullets and the nano-suit collided with countless sparks, and Yang Ming calmly launched a spider silk to fly over the hospital rooftop. Goodbye, dear fans. After saying hello, Yang Ming disappeared from everyone's sight. Hateful. George gritted his teeth and retracted his gun, punched hard on the hood of the police car, and then quickly ran towards the wall that Gwen smashed. Others are not allowed to come over. Scolding the police officers behind him, George stepped across the ruins to find Gwen, who had just got up, and asked nervously, "Gwen, are you all right?" Gwen rubbed her painful chest, shook her head and said, "Don't worry about me, he seems to have become stronger again." Spider-Man, I must make him look good. George cursed. Gwen looked at his angry father, and suddenly said, "Father, why did Spider-Man become so strong when you appeared?" George froze. What, father, next time I meet Spider-Man, you'd better not appear in front of him. George, my daughter, what are you talking about? I am the father who loves you the most. Okay, father, hurry up and take the spider monster's body back to the police station. Ward, Uncle Long, I'm back, you. Hey, Uncle Long, are you all right? Yang Ming came to the ward with the fruit. Seeing Chen Long standing by the window in a daze, his eyes became strange. The hospitalization fee is very expensive, the old boy is too treacherous. Hearing Yang Ming's voice, Chen Long didn't continue to pretend to be sick, he turned around slowly, his eyes full of doubts. Xiao Yang, I seem to have seen a Spider-Man just now. It doesn't seem like it's the real Spider-Man. Yang Ming put down the fruit and said casually. Chen Long stared at Yang Ming's back, and said in an uncertain tone, I seem to have seen Spider-Man use an inch fist. Forehead. Yang Ming's cheeks twitched. Probably not. How could a foreigner understand the essence of our Chinese kung fu? Hearing this, Chen Long nodded seriously. Well, that's right. It's difficult for foreigners to learn routines, let alone exertion skills. Okay, Xiao Yang, you come home with me. I will teach you the rest of the essence of Wing Chun. I hope you can carry forward Wing Chun. I don't expect you to be able to match Xiaolong's achievements. I will be 1/10 of his, very pleased. Yang Ming grinned. Okay, I'll refund the money now. No, I'll go through the discharge procedures. After peeling an apple for Chen Long, Yang Ming went out and turned left, just in time to see Gwen walking towards him clutching his chest. Hi, Gwen, are you okay? Yang Ming asked with concern. Gwen shook her head. It's okay, just a little uncomfortable. By the way, are you okay? Peter said you were taken to the hospital. She said again. Yang Ming scratched his forehead, a little embarrassed. I was the one who sent people to the hospital. Chen Long and Gwen both entered the hospital. In front of the convenience store. Uncle George, thank you for bringing us here. Yang Ming helped Chen Long get out of the car and thanked George. George waved his hand and smiled. You're welcome, drop by. Yang Ming glanced at the van behind the police car, which contained the corpse of the spider monster. Uncle George, do we have to recover the corpse of the spider monster every time? He suddenly asked. George nodded. That's right, this is required by the superiors, otherwise I don't want to see such an ugly monster. Yang Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Where will the monster's corpse be sent? I don't know. It may be used for experimental research. Anyway, no one has seen the monster's corpse appear in other places. Yang Ming frowned. It seemed that the appearance of the spider monster might have something to do with the government. During the process of the nanospider monitoring Dr. Otto, he did not find that the Osborne group had a laboratory for genetic projects. Ding. Temporary mission starts. Explore the secrets of spider monsters. Reward, 2% power of a generation of Spider-Man. Yang Ming's eyes lit up. The release of temporary tasks is really casual enough. Tap. Watch. A nano spider quietly fell to the ground, and soon got into the truck. After finishing all this, Yang Ming bid farewell to everyone. Yummy, won't you go back with us? Peter asked. No, I have to talk to Uncle Long about something. All right then, bye. Bye. Watching the police car leave, Yang Ming turned around and walked into the convenience store with Chen Long, and received the task reward by the way. Following Chen Long upstairs, Yang Ming's physical fitness improved rapidly. Including the reward from the last mission, he gained a total of 2% of Spider-Man's power. After completing the remaining temporary tasks in a few days, you can get another 7% of Spider-Man's power. The power of a generation of Spider-Man is about 25 tons to 50 tons, and 9% of Spider-Man's power is at least 2 tons. Coming upstairs, Yang Ming made a cup of tea for Chen Long. Uncle Long, I call you master, will you provide food and shelter? He asked expectantly. For him, food and housing is the key. Chen Long said contemptuously. You think beautifully. If you don't want your tuition fee to be cheaper, you still want me to support you for a lifetime. But as a teacher for a day and a father for life, I only need to pay for food and housing, and I didn't ask you to buy me a car, a house, and a wife. Shut up, boy. Do you know how expensive housing prices are in New York? Then it's okay to introduce me to a Washaw girlfriend. This can be considered. Thank you, Uncle Long. My request is very simple, height and weight. Stop for me, you poor ghost still dare to make a request, it's good if you have it. Then I'd better go to Peter and ask him to introduce me to the big blonde hair. They only want my body and don't ask for a house or a car. In the urban area of New York, night fell quietly. In the police car, Gwen's face was a bit ugly. She looked at the neon lights outside the window, and always felt that there was some horrible existence nearby watching her. Gwen, what's wrong with you? George asked. Father, let's be careful, I feel something is wrong. Gwen said truthfully. George's face became serious, and he immediately notified the police to be careful. Gwen's spider sense had always been sharp, and he knew it. In the car, Peter saw that the atmosphere was not right, and he couldn't help becoming nervous. Uncle George, what's the matter? George forced a smile. It's okay, Peter, you guys are going to start school soon, please help Gwen carry the luggage then. Of course, Gwen is my friend and I'd love to. Boom. In the middle of Peter's speech, the police car in front suddenly overturned for no reason, and the scene became a riot. Something happened. George stopped and cursed, turned his gun and said, Peter, find a safe place to hide, and Gwen comes with me. Uncle George. Watching the two get out of the car in a hurry, Peter was flustered, not knowing what happened. Before he had time to think about it, he hurriedly got out of the car, and the scene in front of him made him tremble with fear. Kakaka. A tall, green human-shaped lizard was holding up a police car, roaring wildly and tearing it to pieces. Peter, self-righteous Spider-Man, I'm waiting for you to beat me. The green lizard man looked up to the sky and laughed strangely. The dense bullets falling on his indestructible scales was meaningless. Peter's eyes widened, and the lizard man's words echoed in his ears, and the Peter that Dr. Octopus said that day appeared again. His heart seemed to be touched by something, but he still couldn't figure out why. Why Peter is Spider-Man. The lizard man didn't notice the ordinary Peter. He looked around at the police officers. The lizard man grinned grinningly. Quack, fragile body, useless weapon. Boom. Swept by the thick tail, several police officers were immediately sent flying and smashed into the roadside shops. Whoa. The next moment, the white figure flew to the ground, shooting bloody spider threads without hesitation. For a long time, because of his father, the secret of the bloody spider silk never appeared in the newspapers. And when dealing with ordinary criminals, she will not use the terrifying blood-colored spider silk. Only when facing inhuman monsters, will she use ultimate moves without hesitation. Puff. Hiss. The bloody spider silk was extremely fast, mercilessly corroding a large amount of black smoke on the lizard man's scales, bringing a bit of pain to the lizard man. White. Spider-Man. The lizard man bared his teeth ferociously, and wiped off the bloody spider silk on his body. The green scales were not damaged much. What? Gwen, who turned into Spider-Woman, turned pale with fright, and couldn't believe that her ultimate move had completely lost its lethality. The lizard man kicked away the police car blocking him, and said ferociously, "White Spider, you must know Peter, tell me where Spider-Man is." Peter. Peter again. Gwen subconsciously looked at Peter, who had fled in a hurry and disappeared into a corner. His mind was in confusion. The octopus monster mistook Peter for Spider-Man, and the lizard monster in front of him also mistook Peter for Spider-Man. Is this a coincidence? No, it must not be. Roar. Seeing Gwen in a daze, the lizard man roared, and the stench and wind blew the hood off Gwen's head. "Little white spider, tell me where Peter is, or I will tear you apart." Gwen came back to her senses and launched spider webs to fly high into the sky. "Ugly lizard man, it's okay to tell you, come with me." She wants to lure the lizard people to no man's land. The lizard man was not worried about the other party's tricks, so he dashed forward and followed Gwen's direction. Boom. Inadvertently, the car carrying the spider monster was knocked down by the lizard man, and the body of the spider monster was exposed in the car, making the lizard man stop. Spider. The lizard man sniffed the smell of the spider monster, and couldn't help licking the corner of his mouth, feeling intoxicated for a while. "It turned out that it was your smell that attracted me. It's great, but Peter's whereabouts are more important. I won't allow anyone to destroy my plan in the future." After finishing speaking, the lizard man chased after Gwen in the direction he left. Screw Russell. The lizard man quickly moved away, and the spider monster crawled out of the head of the nano spider, and soon got into the corpse again. George looked worriedly in the direction where Gwen disappeared, and immediately called for help. "Call the headquarters, I'm George, there is a lizard monster on the scene, requesting support." "Officer George, your mission is to bring back the corpse of the spider monster." But, unknowingly, Gwen lured the lizard man to East River Park near Chinatown. Ahead, the Brooklyn Bridge. The lizard man swooped down, and the several tons of weight smashed a car into scrap iron without any surprise. "Little white spider, isn't Spider-Man going to save you?" He looked up at Gwen at the height of the bridge, reached out and fiddled with the scrap iron under his feet, and was about to lose his patience. Gwen was about to despair. This monster was extremely powerful, flexible, and its defense was beyond her imagination. She couldn't cause effective damage to the lizard man. If this continues, more and more people will be injured. "Quack, little white spider, I'm impatient." The lizard man jumped up, and with terrifying force, he easily lifted an unmanned car and threw it towards the densely packed vehicles on the bridge. "What?" The crowd screamed, and Gwen could only launch spider silk to pull the pedestrians who were about to be crushed to a safe place. Boom. As the vehicle exploded, the lizard men leapt across the flames and began wreaking havoc. "Stop, monster." Gwen flew down, continuously launching spider silk to restrict the opponent's movements, but no amount of spider silk could trap the opponent for less than 3 seconds. At the same time, people in chaos run around like headless chickens, and Gwen has to be distracted to save people, exhausted. While Gwen was distracted to save people, the escaped lizard man seized the opportunity to pounce on Gwen, and his sharp claws were about to tear Gwen into pieces. "Quack, tear you apart." When Gwen realized it, the lizard man was already close at hand. At this moment, seeing the pounce of the lizard man, Gwen inexplicably recalled the Spider-Man's taunting towards her, and suddenly felt fierce in her heart. "Don't underestimate me." Gwen viciously tore off half of the mask, advancing instead of retreating, and while hitting the lizard man with her petite body, she nimbly climbed behind the lizard man, scratched her nails, and bit behind the lizard man's ear that was not covered by scales. Roar. "Come down quickly, spider, I'm going to tear you apart." The lizard man roared in pain, and his sharp claws kept slapping Gwen, who was walking around his body, but Gwen's movements were extremely flexible, and he couldn't catch the little spider at all. Bang bang bang. The lizard man roared and rammed, flying several cars in a row. In a chain reaction, 3 cars smashed through the guardrail and rushed down the bridge. "What? Help, what?" When Gwen found someone in the car, He paused, and was immediately caught by the lizard man, who threw him into the sea of densely packed cars. Gwen held back the pain, launched a spider web and turned around, trying to catch the car that fell off the bridge, but it was too late. No! Clang clang clang. In the next second, 4 mechanical spider legs appeared beside the bridge, and the familiar figure dragged 3 cars by himself, and the golden spider logo was extremely eye-catching. "Hi ma'am, see you again so soon." Yang Ming shot the spider silk to hang the 3 cars on the bridge, waved and said, "Saving people is too boring, I leave it to you." "You." Gwen breathed a sigh of relief, and wanted to say a word of thanks, but saw Yang Ming launching spider silks flying high on the bridge. "Hey big green lizard, nice view up there." The lizard man showed a ferocious face. "You are finally here, Peter." As he said that, the sharp claws left deep marks on the bridge, and the lizard man quickly chased to the high place. "It's really Peter." Gwen kept wondering. "Call." At the highest point of the bridge, the cold wind howled. Yang Ming sat on the spider webs of the vertical and horizontal bridges, feeling extremely comfortable. Seeing this scene, the lizard man's eyes were vigilant, and the tail behind him wobbled uncomfortably. Not Peter's suit. Peter. Crack. Before the lizard man could speak, Yang Ming raised his camera and took a picture of him. Ding. Temporary mission starts. Defeat Dr. Lizard. Reward, 1% power of a generation of Spider-Man. Hey, big lizard, $10 apiece, here you go. Yang Ming stretched out his hand. The lizard man was stunned. Is Peter so poor? Call out. Behind him, the spider silk locked the bridge, and Gwen rushed over, blocking the lizard man in the middle. Peter, you have a good helper. The lizard man sneered, leaned down and charged, and the bridge steel and sharp claws under his feet burst into sparks. Peter, the lizard man shouted and rushed towards Yang Ming. Puff puff. When the war resumed, Yang Ming and Gwen launched a large number of spider threads at the same time to fix the lizard man's limbs on the bridge. Tear. This time, before Gwen rushed over, the lizard man broke free from the spider silk with all his might, and with his thick and powerful tail forced Gwen back. He raised his paws and slapped Yang Ming. Facing the terrifyingly powerful claws, Yang Ming retreated calmly, and then exerted strength on his feet, increased his waist strength, and burst out with every inch of strength, with the last strike coming first. Boom! The air was muffled, and Yang Ming punched the scale armor on the lizard man's chest, making the sound of gold and iron clashing. The lizard man looked down at the fist on his chest and let out a smirk. Peter, haven't you eaten? After finishing speaking, the sharp claw slammed down. Call out. Yang Ming shot a spider's thread behind him and retreated suddenly. Seeing the lizard man rushing again, he actually took out an old book from behind and read it calmly. If this trick doesn't work, try another trick. Peter, your hobbies are surprising. The lizard man flew forward, striking with both claws, vowing to crush Yang Ming's head. At this time, Yang Ming focused on the content of the book without looking up. Boom! When the strong wind hit, Yang Ming felt his body move forward instead of retreating. He lightly avoided the fatal blow. At the same time, his vacant right hand turned into a hand knife and landed on the lizard man's chest after a short distance of energy accumulation. Bang bang bang. There were 3 muffled sounds in a row, and the moment the hand knife touched the scales, the first force was blasted, and then the knuckles were used for the second blow, and finally the fist was changed to complete the third bombardment. Triple inch. Crack. In an instant, the scales on the lizard man's chest were overwhelmed and shattered, and the triple force condensed into a single force and invaded the body, from the inside to the outside to the scales on the back. As the fist print penetrated the body, the scales on the back shattered inch by inch. Call. The wind was still fierce, and the lizard man's eyes widened, his movements became stiff, and his body was completely unconscious, allowing Yang Ming to back away. Ding. Temporary task completed. You. The lizard man knelt down slowly, with disbelief on his ugly face. The green scales began to crumble, his right arm melted away, and human skin appeared. Soon, the lizard men regained their human form. Kurt Connors, the villain in The Amazing Spider-Man, a former laboratory colleague and friend of Peter Parker's parents, once worked for Norman Osborn, specializing in the regeneration of human limbs caused by cross-species inheritance. His personal ideal is to build a world without the weak. In the movie, Peter Parker gave the equation left by his parents to Professor Kurt Connors, and the experiment finally succeeded. However, Under the urging and threats of Norman Osborn's subordinates, Professor Kurt Connors used himself to conduct human experiments and successfully grew his lost right arm. Unfortunately, he mutated into a lizard monster, and even human thinking was slow. Slow change. Dr. Cotter collapsed to the ground, losing support and about to fall from the high bridge. Yang Ming launched a spider thread to fix Dr. Kurt on the bridge, and turned to look at the dazed Gwen not far away. "Hey, Spider, this guy is in your hands." Handing Dr. Kurt to Gwen is equivalent to handing over to the official forces. For unreliable official forces, they will never simply put them in prison, and will definitely use Dr. Cotter's research to do something. At that time, you can start temporary missions again, and you will be happy. Gwen recovered from the scene just now. "What? This guy is handed over to you?" Oh, okay. Gwen nodded subconsciously, and the picture of Yang Ming defeating the lizard monster with one move kept replaying in his mind. Why is the power of the same punch so much different? This guy kept his hand during the day, otherwise this punch would probably kill her half. Now that I think about it, this Mr. Spider is not a gentleman, except that he is a bit mean-spirited, likes to tease people, and is not a gentleman to ladies. In fact, he is quite a nice person. No, why do I think this guy is good? Gwen was confused. Okay, Spider, it's time to say goodbye. Yang Ming waved his hand, jumped off the high bridge and left. Wait, your name is Peter too. Before Gwen finished speaking, Yang Ming's figure had disappeared. On the Brooklyn Bridge, countless people used their mobile phones to record the battle. On the TV screen, the image of Spider-Man punching the lizard man was extremely blurry. Hey, uncle, check out. At the counter, the young couple put the small box in front of Chen Long, and urged the dull Chen Long. Chen Long mechanically returned the change to the two of them, and it took a while to react. The little monster is Spider-Man. Running here to be a superhero, crazy. Quote. Osborn Group, Secret Lab. Norman Osborn stared at the blurred picture in the news broadcast and turned his head solemnly. Drive Otto, the power of Spider-Man is not as simple as imagined. You can escape from him, and it is the goddess of luck who favors you. As he spoke, he manipulated the computer to zoom in on the screen, and another scene appeared in front of the two of them. In the picture, the Osborn Group sent a helicopter to rescue the lizardmen, but was suddenly attacked by a red figure when they approached Dong Park. The sharp spider spears easily pierced the helicopter shell, and several spider threads connected several helicopters. The force forced several helicopters to collide together, and then fell into the sea together. Before fighting the lizardman, Spider-Man has noticed us. Norman Osborn's eyes flashed a gloomy look. Dr. Otto's expression was not good, but when he glanced at the experimental device that was about to be prepared, the confidence in his heart was overwhelmed by anxiety. HMPH, Spider-Man, fake Peter, he won't be happy for long. Norman Osborn, in order to ensure the smooth progress of the experiment, I need help. He looked at the other party. Norman Osborn smiled knowingly. Don't worry, I will arrange everything, it will be a big surprise. Imperial College, Myers Laboratory. Drive Miles, the body has arrived. The assistant opened the laboratory door and said to Miles Warren in front of the computer. Miles nodded, adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses on the bridge of his nose, and said with a gentle smile, Okay, I see, thank you for your hard work. It's not hard. After the assistant left, Miles' smile faded instantly, his face full of indifference. Get up and go to the corner of the laboratory, open the secret door, and the corpse of the spider monster slowly emerges from the elevator. This time the body is still intact, which can save a lot of trouble. Miles took a deep breath and began to repair the spider monster's body. He first took out a strange medicine and injected it into the corpse, then manipulated the mechanical instrument to remove the sarcoma from the spider monster's head, stuffed the new sarcoma that had been prepared into the spider monster's head, and finally sewed up all the wounds on the corpse. Soon, the wound was sutured, the medicine took effect, and the wound healed quickly, but the spider monster was still a corpse. Miles pressed the machine button with a blank expression, the machine roared, and countless mechanical tentacles pierced into the corpse, releasing strange energy currents. Beep beep beep. Half an hour later, the computer showed that the activity of the corpse had increased rapidly, the sarcoma had perfectly merged with the corpse, and the spider monster had new signs of life. Welcome back, cutie. Miles chuckled, locked the revived spider monster into the dungeon, then went to the computer, called up the virtual model of Spider-Woman, and compared the data with various information at the same time. DD. Data analysis level. 99%. Seeing this, Miles frowned. It's been a year, and it's still only 99%. It seems that this is the limit. As the most gifted student of Peter Parker's father, Miles successfully copied the most perfect mutant spider after many years, but because of a mistake, the mutant spider escaped from the laboratory. Then, Spider-Woman shows up, a god-forsaken woman who takes his fruits. He longed for the power of Spider-Woman, but he could no longer use the mutant spider to create another, Spider-Woman, only to create an ugly spider monster. He didn't know what went wrong with him. Perhaps it was Spider-Woman's special genetics that caused this beautiful misunderstanding to happen. So, he set his sights on Spider-Woman. Every time Spider-Woman appears, he will send spider monsters to fight with Spider-Woman. While collecting a lot of relevant data, he also successfully collected the genetic information of Spider-Woman. As a genius in genetic information, as long as he gets the genetic information of Spider-Woman, he is confident to reproduce countless Spider-Woman. For the experiment to work perfectly, he needed access to all of Spider-Woman's combat data. Now, although the data analysis is still not perfect, he can't wait any longer. The presence of another Spider-Man made him feel threatened. And more mechanical octopus fighters, lizardmen, and people with extraordinary power appeared one after another, which made him unbearable. He also knew that Norman Osborn, who was allied with him, rescued the mechanical octopus monster and was conducting some kind of secret experiment. No matter what the experiment was, what he was sure of was that after the experiment was successful, Norman Osborn would take violent actions to take away his experimental results. It is necessary to proceed to the next step. Miles clenched his fists, turned and walked towards the secret laboratory. Snapped. At this time, the wallet accidentally dropped, and a photo slipped out, showing the blonde girl with a sunny smile. Miles picked up the photo and looked at the girl in the photo, with a perverted fascination on his face. Gwen, when I get the power of Spider-Woman, I will make you the second Spider-Woman. Parker Apartments. Yang Ming tapped the virtual computer, and the screen stopped abruptly. Miles Warren, how old are you and still miss Gwen, shameless pervert? Yang Ming snorted, old cows eat tender grass, don't you know that young men are under a lot of pressure now? As he spoke, he smashed the mechanical spider on the table beside him into pieces with one punch. Miles didn't discover Gwen's true identity, thanks to Yang Ming. Ding! Successfully revealed the secret of the spider monster, completed the temporary task, and rewarded a generation of Spider-Man with 2% power. After receiving the task reward, the rapid improvement of physical fitness, the process was extremely comfortable, which made Yang Ming subconsciously let out an indescribable groan. Together with the reward for defeating the Lizardman, today he has gained 3% of the power of a generation of Spider-Man. So far, 5% of the power of the first generation of Spider-Man has brought Yang Ming at least a ton of explosive power. After moving his body, Yang Ming began to remotely control the nano spider to steal the data from Miles' computer. The resurrection of the spider monster, the focus is on the replacement of the sarcoma, which should use a technology similar to biomechanical control. This thing is a proper black technology, but in this Marvel world where black technology is overflowing, it is not too rare technology. On the contrary, the potion for quickly repairing wounds is not bad. But what Yang Ming really wanted was Miles' biological cloning technology. Although I don't know what flaws Myers' technology has, it's always good to know in advance. Biological cloning represents endless biochemical warriors in the future. Early in the morning, Yang Ming was awakened by the noise from the next door. What is it? Disturbing people's dreams early in the morning, crazy. Yang Ming woke up full of vigor, with a chicken nest on his head, and opened the door to argue with his new neighbor. Hey, buddy, you. Hey, why are you? Yang Ming looked at Gwen, who was directing the moving of the furniture at the door, with a dazed expression on his face. Seeing Yang Ming, Gwen greeted with a smile. Hi, good morning Yami, we are neighbors from today on. Gwen, why did you move here? Yang Ming pouted. When he was woken up early in the morning, he really didn't have a good face. Gwen didn't care about Yang Ming's stinky face. She said, Didn't Peter tell you, I had a fight with my father, that's why I moved here. I wanted to be neighbors with Peter, but there are people in that place, so you know, it would be nice to be neighbors with you. Quote. Quarrel. Yang Ming rolled his eyes. That guy George is a slave to his daughter, this reason is simply rotten. Dr. Otto and Dr. Kurt kept saying that Peter was Spider-Man, and this guy came to prove it. Gwen, I think you are coveting my beauty, so you made excuses and moved next door to me, waiting for an opportunity to plot against me and destroy my innocence. Gwen, Yummy, what are you talking about? I don't understand Chinese. Yang Ming squeezed out a smile. It's nothing, I'm complaining for you, Uncle George really doesn't understand you. It's okay to enjoy things like mouth high, but it would be embarrassing to explain it clearly. Ding dong. At this time, the elevator opened, and the dark-skinned courier came to the door with a shiny wooden dummy. Hi, are you Ya? Brother Yummy? The courier asked as he put down the wooden dummy. I am. Yang Ming was already immune to Yummy. Oh, that's great. These are the kung fu props Master Chen Long asked me to send to you. Master Chen Long asked me to tell my brother, don't forget to practice. Okay, no, what did you call me? Yang Ming was stunned. Brother Yummy, I'm a courier and a disciple of Master Chen Long, the kind that needs to be charged. The other party smiled embarrassedly. Uncle Long also opened a martial arts gym, no wonder he doesn't like the petty profits of convenience stores. Yang Ming shook his head helplessly, signed the papers, and sent the Dark Junior away. Kung fu props. After the courier left, Gwen stepped forward with strange eyes. Yummy, do you also practice kung fu? Of course, didn't expect that. Yang Ming entered the door with the wooden dummy in his arms, turned around and gave a thumbs up. Chinese kung fu, awesome. Gwen followed Yang Ming into the door with an expression of interest. Yummy, is your master good at kung fu? Introduce him to me. I want to learn even better kung fu. Yang Ming found a place to put down the wooden dummy, and played around with a few tricks. What good am I? He said simply and directly. Oh, Yummy, you let me down so much, we are friends. Gwen pretended to be sad. Yang Ming rolled his eyes. Gwen, your acting skills are very limited. Okay Yummy, I think you're interested in my girlfriends at school. Okay. Yang Ming's eyes lit up. Your friends, do they have money? Gwen. She glanced under Yang Ming subconsciously, and said in a teasing tone, Yummy, if your body is strong, maybe they will consider you. Haha, that's good. When? School starts tomorrow. Peter and I go to the same school. Let's go to Imperial University together. Yang Ming calculated the time, tomorrow. It should be fine. What? Gwen asked curiously, is there anything to do tomorrow? Maybe there is a little thing at night, don't worry about it. Gwen nodded, then seemed to think of something, and said, by the way, Yummy, Harry invited us to a party in a villa in the suburbs tomorrow night. Remember to come when you're done, and I'll send you the address. Yang Ming is not interested in parties. Before he could refuse, Gwen said later, Yummy, there is a surprise. Surprise. Yang Ming frowned. Gwen, I actually like parties the most. Imperial University, the breath of youth permeates the air. A huge celebrity statue stands at the entrance of the university. Gwen pointed to the statue and introduced Yang Ming proudly. Yummy, this is the founder of Imperial University. Hi Gwen. Before the words finished, Dr. Miles, who had been waiting at the school gate, walked towards Gwen with a gentle smile on his face. The moment Gwen saw Miles, she took a step back subconsciously, with a bit of embarrassment on her face. Ever since she met this Professor Myers at a lecture last time, she felt that there was something strange hidden in Myers' smile. If possible, she really didn't want to have any interaction with this professor. Hi, Professor Miles. She forced a smile. Miles didn't care, and stepped forward to have an intimate kiss. Seeing this, Yang Ming casually pushed Peter beside him forward, and had a close contact with Miles. Oh, Yummy, you pushed me again. Peter turned his head and said dissatisfied. Yang Ming grinned. Gwen has a cold today, it's not good to infect the professor, so you can do it for me. Peter's eyes were blank. What's the excuse? Seeing the embarrassing scene, Gwen could only smile and say nothing. Yummy really understands me best. Miles didn't care, and his smile was still kind. He was concerned about Gwen's illness, and then said to Peter, "Hi, Peter, is this your friend?" He looked at Yang Ming. The fist in his sleeve was covered with veins. "Nasty guy." Peter nodded. "Yes, this is Yami, my best friend." "And my best friend," Gwen added. "Is it?" Miles' eyes became dangerous. Gwen frowned, and her keen spider sense made her subconsciously pull Yang Ming to her side. "Professor Miles, I'm sorry, we still have to find our friends." After Gwen finished speaking, she walked away quickly holding Yang Ming's arm. Miles' face darkened again, and Peter looked at the two people who had suddenly become close, and was even more at a loss. Strange, Gwen and Yami. Could it be? Peter's face became bright, and he rushed to say goodbye to Miles, and hurriedly followed the two. "Yami, Gwen, you." Just as he was about to speak, Yang Ming turned around suddenly, with warning eyes. "Peter, I advise you not to meddle in your own business." Peter's smile became stiff. "Just a look, why can I clearly feel the breath of killing?" Seeing Peter shut up, Yang Ming smiled satisfied, and let Gwen rub his arm. "Gwen, go faster, faster." He narrowed his eyes and couldn't help urging. "The faster you go, the bigger the moves. I have to say that the girls in the Marvel world are quite expected." Gwen turned her head and saw that she was far away from Miles, so she stopped under Yang Ming's disappointed gaze. "Phew, that's too weird." She breathed a sigh of relief, recalling the danger she sensed just now, obviously emanating from Miles. Never before. What happened to Professor Miles? "Yami, what did you just say?" She recovered and looked at Yang Ming. Yang Ming opened his eyes, the smile on his face faded instantly, and he withdrew his arm from Gwen's arms with a straight face. "Gwen, you are too much, and others will misunderstand you like this." Gwen reacted and quickly apologized. "I'm sorry, Yami, I forgot that you Chinese people care about these etiquettes." "Forget it, I forgive your rudeness. Who made you my best friend?" Yang Ming said with a generous face. Behind him, Peter opened his mouth wide, his face full of shock. Yami really knows how to play. He gave a silent thumbs up in his heart. "Hey Peter, you're here too." The sports car roared, and Harry got out of the car to say hello. "Hi, Harry, Mary." Peter couldn't help looking at the well-dressed Mary. "Hi, Peter, how are you?" Mary smiled charmingly. "Yes, it's not bad." Peter forcibly looked back and chatted with Harry. On the other side, Gwen's friends also came to the school one after another. "Yami, this is my friend, Ruth, Julie, Kathy, Sierra." Gwen introduced her friends one by one, and Yang Ming smiled. "Hi, hello, I'm Yang Ming." "Hi, Yami." Yang Ming. "Used to it." He took a step back with a smile, and whispered in Gwen's ear, "Gwen, who is the richest?" Hearing this, Gwen covered her face in embarrassment. "Ruth, his father is the founder of the Smith Group, and he is worth as much." Before she could finish speaking, Yang Ming immediately straightened his back and showed a charming smile. "You don't need to be so detailed, Gwen, you stand back a little, I'm going to start pretending." "Gwen, poor Yami, your body will be overwhelmed." In the laboratory, Miles turned on the computer and called up Yang Ming's detailed information. Washa people, freelancers, temporarily living in Parker's apartment. Myers looked gloomy, thinking that Gwen had also moved into Parker's apartment recently. Humble Asians, how dare you be so close to Gwen, I will make you disappear forever in the city's sewers like those guys. Little cutie, kill him for me. He looked at the spider monster in the nutrition cabin with a ferocious smile. Scare. In the coffee shop, a group of people chatted happily. Although Yang Ming didn't fully understand their jokes, it didn't stop him from scanning Ruth's name tags with admiring eyes. It's nice to have money. After a while, looking at the time, Yang Ming stood up and said goodbye. "Yami, are you leaving now?" "That's right, I've been busy recently, and I still have 2 interesting dates." Yang Ming said with a smile. "Dating?" Gwen was curious. "You just arrived in this city, so you probably don't have any other friends." "Gwen, there is an old saying in our hometown, 3 days away, you should look at me with admiration, don't underestimate me." Gwen half understood. "All right Yami, I'll take a closer look at you in 3 days." Yang Ming. "Gwen, you're funny." His cheek twitched. Gwen showed the arrogance of being praised. "Yami, you have great vision." Bye. Bye. Don't forget about the party tonight." "I'll remember." Yang Ming greeted everyone, as if thinking of something when he left. He turned to Gwen and said, "By the way, are your suitors okay now?" "What?" Gwen was taken aback. "Nothing, just curious." Gwen thought for a while. There were a few before, but they all disappeared strangely. Yang Ming nodded. "Yes, I see." Then he turned and left. Peter can live until now, thanks to his infatuation for Mary. Looking at Yang Ming's back, Gwen was full of doubts. Weird yummy. Beside, Ruth and others winked at each other, and then swarmed around Gwen. "Gwen, can't you see that? What? Yami cares about your suitor. So what? Yami cares about you. So." Gwen lowered her head and sighed. The bloodstains on her wrists were clearly visible. Ordinary people would die with her. At this time, Peter walked into the coffee shop to find Gwen. "Hi Gwen, here's a letter from you." He handed the envelope to Gwen. "Oh, the old-fashioned way of courtship. Gwen, you were miserable." Ruth and the others smiled gloatingly. Gwen smiled helplessly, took the envelope and asked casually, "Peter, who gave you the letter? Why is it in your hand?" Peter shrugged. "I don't know, it fell from the sky, and it has your name on it." Alley near the campus. Scare. As the spider monster neighed mournfully, Yang Ming smashed its head into pieces with a punch. Boom. The spider monster fell to the ground and twitched, and soon became silent. Looking at the corpse of the spider monster, Yang Ming frowned. "Strange, why didn't you start a temporary mission this time? Could it be that the system sensed that I was intentionally spawning monsters?" Shaking his head, Yang Ming jumped onto the high wall with a disappointed expression on his face, quickly brought a barrel of gasoline, and burned the body of the spider monster. Mobs that cannot provide temporary quests are useless. After finishing the corpse, Yang Ming called out the virtual computer. "Friday, open the map and target warehouse near the Manhattan Bridge." "Okay sir, navigation has been turned on for you." The Manhattan Bridge is a suspension bridge located in New York City, connecting Manhattan and Brooklyn across the East River. It's one of 4 free vehicle bridges linking Manhattan Island to Long Island, and the nearby Brooklyn Bridge, just a little further downtown, is where the Lizard Man was arrested a few days ago. As night falls, a dark area that Neon can't care about. The abandoned warehouse is currently undergoing an unknown secret experiment. The giant experimental equipment is located in the warehouse, and its shape is very similar to the sharp claws at the end of Dr. Otto's mechanical tentacles, like an enlarged version of the mechanical claws. In front of the computer, Dr. Otto's eyes were fiery, his hands kept typing on the keyboard, and a series of experimental data quickly flashed across the computer screen. "I finally waited for this moment. Soon I will be the greatest scientist in the world. My experiments will shock everyone. All the world-class awards will be mine." Dr. Otto laughed wildly. The giant instrument began to accumulate energy, and 3 high-temperature beams shot out from the end of the claw, collided and merged in the instrument, and soon formed a group of blazing energy clusters, like a continuously growing and expanding the little sun illuminates the entire warehouse. Gradually, the little sun emits more and more terrifying energy fluctuations. Once it gets out of control, the whole city will be destroyed in an instant. "Hey, Dr. Otto, I think you should stop your experiment, you know it won't work." On the top of the warehouse, Yang Ming wore a nanosuit and hung upside down from the roof, and spoke calmly. The nano spider always pays attention to the progress of Dr. Otto's experiment, and today is the day of Dr. Otto's official experiment. Yang Ming will not miss it. Seeing the hideous Spider-Man appear, Dr. Otto showed an evil smile unscrupulously. "Fake Peter, you really are here, you want to stop my experiment, you are too naive." "Is it?" Yang Ming chuckled, launched a spider web, rolled over and rushed down, and came to Dr. Otto in the blink of an eye. "What?" Dr. Otto was shocked by the opponent's speed. Before he could react, the 4 mechanical tentacles rushed out first, and roared towards Yang Ming with the gust of wind. Rather than saying that Dr. Otto controls the mechanical tentacles, it is better to say that the mechanical tentacles control Dr. Otto. Boom. Chong. In an instant, the sharp 8 spider lances popped out from behind Yang Ming, and collided with the 4 mechanical tentacles that struck, sending out sparks all over the sky. "Fake Peter, you can't stop me." Dr. Otto grinned, and the 4 mechanical tentacles stretched out violently, swiftly past the 8 spider lances, binding Yang Ming in the air. "Haha, counterfeit, you have become weaker," Dr. Otto said disappointedly. I think should not be. Bang bang. Several shots were fired, and the 4 mechanical tentacles left Yang Ming in an instant, circled in front of Dr. Otto, and blocked the bullets in front of Dr. Otto. Ding 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 dong. The bullet fell to the ground, and Dr. Otto looked sullenly at Yang Ming, who rolled back and retreated. You use a gun, scumbag superhero. Yang Ming casually dropped the gun in his hand, spread his hands and smiled. Sorry, I met a cute little guy with a gun when I came here, and I want to try the feeling of shooting. Counterfeit, you are far from Peter. Dr. Otto didn't want to talk nonsense. The mechanical tentacles extended and quickly pounced, locking Yang Ming's limbs respectively. Seeing this, Yang Ming jumped up, and the concrete under his feet cracked instantly. The huge force brought unparalleled speed, and he was surrounded by mechanical tentacles in an instant. Boom! The air muffled, and the mechanical tentacles immediately froze in midair. The pupils of Dr. Otto's eyes reflected the shadow of the nano suit. He lowered his head slowly, looking at the ordinary fist on his chest in disbelief. Sorry, I will do what Peter can, and I will do what Peter can't. Yang Ming grinned, and casually pressed Dr. Otto's fat face, pushing Dr. Otto's stiff body down. Ding! Defeat Dr. Otto and reward a generation of Spider-Man with 1% power. The prompt sounded in his ears, and Yang Ming secretly said, it really is like this. The Lizard Man is stronger than Dr. Otto, but the reward for defeating the Lizard Man is only 1%. There is no reason to get 2% for defeating Dr. Otto. If you guess right, zzzz. At this time, the mechanical tentacles began to twitch, and from time to time, a trace of electric current poured into Dr. Otto's body, quickly repairing Dr. Otto's injuries. Seeing this, Yang Ming restrained his thoughts, glanced at the ever-expanding little sun, and made a gesture to crush Dr. Otto's head. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.